Shit. And now we're live with Eazy El Dee up in here. What's up, internet?
Let me see if this work. Hold on.
Does it work?
I
Uh,
thought I still had my sound bites.
You might have to like share your sound with me.
No,
Like,
no, but I am going through my mixer, so I can like technically play music, and it's supposed to work. But I'm not sure why my samples are not there.
is that right? Oh, they're just not there? Fair enough. I trust your ability. Y'all, he brought a mixer and shit. Like, that's some
Well, yeah,
big.
no, because when I stream, I'm using the same computer that I'm streaming, right? So that's what I use to put
Yo, but if it's
Zoom.
going, if your shit's sent to your audios, it might be that I just have to set up share screen so that you can share your audio with me via Zoom and then I hear it. Sorry?
For some reason, I lost them. I think it's because yesterday I moved
Fair enough.
my but whatever. It doesn't matter.
It still
What
looks
up?
fire to have you there. Welcome, Easy LD, to bridge
Thank you for
the
having me,
gap.
bro.
Yeah,
Sorry once again. I apologize for the last time it couldn't happen, man. It was a last
listen,
minute thing. I was doing
if I learned
the
anything, it's you should take the bag when you can get the bag.
no, for sure. But it was what was it called? It was like a staff party. They needed me to DJ at the restaurant that I work at. So yeah.
I mean, if that's what, I mean, there's a part of me in a moment, somebody cancels last minute where I'm like, fuck. But then it's
Yeah.
like, what are you going to do, right? I can't pretend like it's not going to come a time in my future where I'm not the one canceling on people due to unforeseen shit. So it's all about the karmas and energies of trying to build it. Now, if you canceled this one, I might have been skeptical to try it a third time.
I would have been like, oh fuck yeah, this is gone.
But like, nah, it's cool. Plus, you fucking out there doing your thing. I mean, just so y'all know, I'm supposed to say it. My name Holden Stephan Roy, and this is Bridge the Gap, the show where we talk to interesting people such as yourself, walk through the story of your life. And I get extra excited with y'all DJs because when y'all get into it, y'all seen like a lot of the history from an angle that's, well, as a rapper, I can see how narrow minded rappers can be with our perceptions of reality in the bigger picture. Whereas y'all DJs, yo, what's up? See, hello, Brown 27. Um, and,
I'm just I wanna host your
all right,
stream.
man, yo, listen, if you want to do Twitch shit to boost my Twitch shit, bro, we could take all the time in the world for that. I'm not doing amazing on Twitch lately. We here, we running it because it's what we do. But growing the Twitch, also something we trying to do. But yeah, it's good to have you here for real while you do that. And I'm excited for all of y'all that are going to come through and watch this. And for those of you in the future, I never talked to you at the beginning, but I still love you, all you YouTube. And if you're actually one of the like 8 people that exist on Spotify listening to this, apparently there's a chunk of people, like 3 or 4, that like, which is a chunk for my podcast stats, but like watch this shit on like Amazon podcast, but they don't have any stats, so I can't see shit. I can't even know what episodes people are watching on Amazon. So I just know that to all of y'all who listen to me on Amazon fucking podcast, shout out you. um,
There you go.
hey, Ismail hosted. That's cool.
Ismail in the house. What up, Ismail?
Yeah, Ismail is gangster about that. He be in the house for years. We hit like our 5-year birthday yesterday as a behind that suit
So I
entity.
saw that, man. Congratulations, man.
Ismail's been around for a good 4 and a bit of those years. Back in the days when he was Mozart.
Ismail, the OG, triple OG.
Nah, for real. And then it's like, yo, he comes through and he's like, I'm in Montreal. I'm like, say a fucking word. Meeting Ismail is a moment. That's all I can say. It's like a big one. Like just
I
to
met
have
him
that.
this summer, man.
It's
He
a
popped
vibe.
up at a show that I was performing my man Trac.
It's
He's like,
fun.
"Yo, I'm Ismail, man." I'm like, "Oh shit, what up?"
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool because why I like Ismail, the not to say there are other reasons, but for the practical political reasons of Ismail's role in life, is ain't nobody can say there ain't no fans in the city no more. Not a person can say that. Cause literally Ismail be buying people's albums and shit. It's over. Y'all have to at least say there's one guy at least in the city that's a fan and fuck the rest of y'all.
Shouts to Ismail, man. Ismail, you're a true G.
Big facts. But today you are, in fact, yeah, Ismail does live around the corner. Ismail's on my same physical block, as in the
Oh shit.
block, the four like squares, not the same street, but he's on the block, like probably 500 meters away from me right now.
What area is this? What hood?
Oh, we up on Fielding on NDG land,
Okay.
repping that. Where
Okay. You
where
guys
are
are not
you
far. I'm
at
not
in the
far.
city?
I just moved. I just recently moved to. Well, I guess it's called Ville Marie. I say it's pretty much Westmount a little bit, but I'm on like 2 minutes away from like Geek Concordia
I'll say
State.
word. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a little further away, but not far at all. Like you're in the range of distance where I would go to your crib without thinking twice, whereas other people I would have to think twice.
Straight up. I'm like literally where where guy becomes um what's it? Côte des Neiges.
Yeah,
So I'm just
like right
just
at the
there.
steep ass hill.
Exactly. Right there, bro. Like
Nice.
literally right there.
Like at the top, right? Because if I'm cycling over there, I don't
Like
want to have
just
to go
before
up there.
that building, before it becomes like. But yeah, I'm right there, bro. That's
Fire.
crazy.
So with
I've been
that,
there since October 16th. Like
yo,
just super.
welcome to closer than wherever you were before, I imagine.
I was in Saint Michel, yeah. Saint Michel way in the east.
Oh yeah, I prefer you in this part of town. It's better. This
Oh,
is like
but before so I did Saint Michel for 2 years, and I was in Saint Henry for like
we gonna run
14.
through your life though. So actually, I wanted to bring it back to the beginnings because the way the show starts, I do have a real scripted question. I did enjoy this banter. I'm feeling a little loosey goosey. It is what it is, but we do have a typical kind of start to it. And in order for that first question to be like all kinds of proper, could you let us know where you start your life, like the very beginnings, the zero age?
Okay, well, 08. So I was born and raised in Peru.
Say
Uh,
word. Oh, bro, this first question is gonna be super litty because you the first Peru dude. You know what? You're in Peru
so
for the first part of your life. That's where the question's gonna land. Let's just do this. I got my first one. It's a little bit of a story. When it lands,
so yeah,
it.
man. Lima, Peru, and I came to Canada when I was probably like 11 years old, maybe.
Oh, that's perfect. So we gotta talk about that beginning part right now. Let me ask this first question. We gonna run it and trust. It's gonna talk about your Lima experience. So all this starts with my girlfriend. This is a little lengthy, but it'll make sense. So it starts with my girlfriend, and even today, actually, my girlfriend today was doing some chores, and she had on her phone, and she was playing this classic tune, this Black Eyed Peas joint. The I got a feeling. Ooh. She's vibing. She's dancing. Actually, normally she's vibing and dancing. This time she glared at me because I was trying to take an Instagram story. But she's usually vibing and dancing and doing her thing. And it got me thinking about this track and how, like, I was left with this sense of when the fuck did this become chores music, right? Like, when did this become the function of this song? Because, like, run that shit back like 10, 11 years. You up inside the clubs, middle of the night, everybody in this random ass circle jumping up and down, doing their thing. It's a joyful moment. Many people get to smash after. Jumping ahead 11 years. Now you're doing chores to it, you working out to it. It's a whole different experience, but the song is the same song because it's a song and they don't really change much. And that to me was like this big experience of like looking at the whole journey that people go on and the journey that music goes on and how the context and the relationships that we have with everything kind of change over time. And I think it got me thinking about even our journeys as music people, DJs, whatever we may be. You look at the interviews and stuff, and everybody starts the story at like this adolescent phase. Like, I discovered hip hop at 12, and I started doing this at 11, and it's like nobody has life before that, you know. But really, if you think about musical journeys in particular, that's not really how it works. You know, our stories start so much earlier. Like, I'm sure in the hospital you was born in or whatever, there was some music playing in the room. Like,
Oh, bro, my dad was a music fiend like
oh,
me, so there was definitely music
we
everywhere
gonna hit
since I.
that. But that's it. So like, cause I know for myself, right? Like I could remember being back up in Côte Saint Luc, 5 years old. My dad's got these gray boxes all over the apartment, the amp, the preamp, the fucking radios, the fucking tape decks, everything kind of with these wires going to all the speakers. He's busting out his fucking Led Zeppelin shits, and at nighttime it would be fucking like MC Mario's Club Mix and shit like that. My mom's was more of a star 92.9, and she was on the love songs and the musicals and that whole vibe of life. And then, the car had its soundtrack. And basically, all of that really affected me to this very day and probably has me being a sappier soul than I should be. But with that, I was hoping you could, run us back to when you were as young as possible, especially growing up in Peru, where I'm pretty sure most of the fucking people watching this don't have any idea what it's like to grow up in Peru back in the day. And you could walk us through a little bit like what it sounded like to be you before you had control in the shits. And take as much time as you want to describe Peru shit, because ain't nobody heard what it's like to be a kid growing up in Peru in my life.
Yeah, but yeah. So like I remember vividly like lots of stuff. Like family parties. Like I remember going to school because I even in Peru I went although I started fifth grade primary school, so I remember a lot. I remember my third grade. I remember my fourth grade. Um, so yeah, man, and I had an older sister, a 6 year older sister, and she was into music a lot too. So because of her, I got into like the sides of like like electronic music. It was the '80s too, right? So electronic music and rock and all that shit. So because of my sister, I had that. I was exposed to that type of music, and obviously my dad was a huge Latin music lover, so salsa and all that shit. It was flowing through my veins all as I was growing up, and we were we had a big family, so we had lots of parties and stuff. So there was always like me and my dad used to do like these dancing routines and stuff like that at parties and stuff like that. So I was always into like performing and like listening to music a lot. So hence why eventually in my life I decided to become a DJ. So so yeah, man. And so what was crazy about Peru is that my dad was a cop in Peru. So and Peru was fucked up back in those days. Terrorism, a lot of fucking crooked shit.
Damn.
And my dad happened to be like a good cop. So we were getting harassed, and then it got to a point where my mom just like she was like she had enough, and she was like, "Yo, we're bouncing. We got to bounce." And we got a little bit lucky because her sister, which is my aunt, she was already in Canada studying. So she was already living here and everything. So we kind of like what we did is that we left as refugees, and then once we got here, we contacted my aunt, and she sponsored us, and we went through the whole process of uh,
What?
becoming a Canadian citizen. So yeah, man. So when I came here, it was the first time I saw snow. I ran outside of the airport and jumped into snow, and it was the stupidest mistake I ever made in my life at that point because it was cold as shit. I didn't know. I didn't know what to
Yeah, that's
expect.
amazing. The guy is like, I came from all sorts of fucked up shit in Peru. My dad's a cop, crazy shit. We're getting threatened. Biggest mistake I made, jumping in snow.
As a kid, what else do you know?
That's
Like
amazing.
you know how to take a piss, how to shit, and that's pretty much it, man. Your life revolves around that.
When you were young though, were you like into like singing, dancing? Is that kind of part of the culture? Like, what's the
More
vibe like?
dancing, not really singing, but more dancing. I was like into like like I was doing like there was a lot of like in school we used to do a lot of like music plays and stuff. Like I
Say
did like
word.
lip sing. Yeah, we had a lot of like activities like after school or whatever shit like that. So yeah, I did many lip sings. I used to do a mean lip sing of like Ricky Martin when he was in Menudo back in the days in the '80s. So yeah, we used to do crazy shit.
That's wild. I mean, I don't know that anybody's ever like told me they did lip sync routines, but we used to do that shit in cadets. So I fucks with you. There was a whole contest for that shit, and motherfucker, like
I
I
used to
watched.
do that too, man.
Say a word. That's fire.
Okay. So yeah, man. So then, so when I was like around, I think pretty much 10 or 11 years old, I came to Canada. It was probably like 91, 92 maybe. Yeah, 92. If I was 10, it was 92. So yeah, man, and it was a whole different change. They caught me back in school a little bit. Like they brought me back 2 years. So when I came here, I started doing my third grade again. So, but yeah,
Hold up. So you had to
then
like be older than everybody while going through school?
Pretty much.
Damn,
Pretty
that's
much.
that's fucking weird though. I mean, I'm just saying like I never heard it. Not weird in like a bad way, but like I never heard it before that like somebody comes through like that, then they like kind of make you go back a little bit and
But what's crazy about me is that it was even because usually it's 1 year. They bring you back 1 year. And me, what was fucked up is that, like I told you, like I had started just started my fifth grade in Peru. Um, but I was a short guy, you know. So when I came here, the stupid principal was like, okay, he's coming back 1 year back, but he'll fit also with the third graders. And then they put me back in third grade.
that's the wildest shit.
Yeah,
That's like
that's and my mom. You know, my mom didn't know better. She's not going to speak up or whatever. It's a new fucking country. My mom just agreed. She was like, yeah, yeah, okay, sure.
wild. So if I understand correctly,
But it's
the
true though. But
principal
it's true though.
just
Like,
like made this assumption, like, he looks like he should be in grade three. Let's put him in
pretty
grade three.
much.
And
Yeah.
that's just flat. And I bet that because I bring it up because I bet if that happened to you, it happens to others. That's like shit just doesn't happen one time.
No, but like to be honest, I kind of agreed with the guy too because like if you would see the difference of like a third grader and a fourth grader back then, it was huge. The dudes in fourth grade were like fucking huge too. So I kind of agreed with the guy, but whatever.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it's just the
Eventually, I also started hanging with people my age and also older. So
right.
it was just
And this
pretty
was
much a
in
temp.
Montreal, or was this somewhere
No,
else?
no, no. This is actually in Gatineau in Elmer. As I'm seeing somebody's like represent AY. What up,
Spectre is
Spectre
81.
81? Spectre's 81. Yo, Elmer, yo. So yeah, that was Elmer, man. I came directly to Gatineau,
Okay.
um, and I pretty much did my whole adolescence there. So from 11 years old all the way till 2005 when I moved to Montreal.
So like during that period, like in high school or whatever, do you decide like I'm gonna become a DJ or whatever? Or are you still just like
So
a
here's
fan
the
of
thing.
shit?
So I fell in love with hip hop pretty early. So it didn't take long. Because already in Peru I was into like there was already like the MC Hammers and like the fucking Vanilla Ices, and I used to also listen to like the Ghetto Boys, not the Ghetto Boys, the Fat Boys, and Run DMC and all that shit, but not like heavily. But once I got here to Canada, Wu Tang was pretty much the first, uh, my first go to like rap shit that I was like, yo, what the fuck is this? And this is what I want to do. So I was pretty much a rapper throughout my
Say
whole adolescence.
word. What was your rapper name back in the day?
So it started off with Wicked Child. That was when I was super young, and then eventually it became 108K, which would stand for one of a kind.
Nice.
But yeah, so I would say that I probably got into rapping in like 90, 95, 96, all the way to like the last song I recorded was in 2004.
Okay, so when did you start recording? Like, so you get into rapping and you're like, cause you're already making music in the '90s like that,
Yeah, yeah. Like I was a hardcore hip hop head back then. Like
bro.
in the '90s, straight up, like the whole nine. Like we were straight up, we were
Was
living
this
hip hop.
were you in French with this?
No, it was English and Spanish. I used to throw in some
Hold
Spanish.
up, there's English people
Yo,
in
who the hell
Gatineau.
Spectres? Who are you, bro? How come you know about JPS? JPS, that's the name of my fucking squad back then. That's who I started rapping with. Those are my boys, man.
I'm so glad you're
So
here,
JPS,
Spectres. Keep dropping that 81 shit on us.
JPS stands for Junior Fat Squad, and that was the name of our group back then.
Back when fat was PH fat and it was fire to be fat. You are blocking yourself with the
Oh
camera
shit,
right
my
now.
bad, my bad, my bad, my
All
bad.
good. I was like, I see you trying to make your phone more accessible and visible, but
Yeah, because this guy dropping some names. I'm like, yo,
bro,
what's up?
honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I became one of these motherfuckers, but it's the pop socket moves, bro. You got to get the
Yo,
pop
I heard,
socket.
I heard that it's super dope. That thing.
Like I hate how dope it is for how bad it looks, but it gives you like almost like a little bit of stability when you filming, and in moments like this, it be holding your phone up.
So yeah, man. Yo, JPS, man, Junior Fat Squad, man. Fuck, we
When was
we.
that? You gotta put like a little date era on that.
So JPS probably started in '96. So we were all in high school. It's the beginning of high school. So
Bro, I
yeah,
don't even know that I've talked to that many people in Quebec that were making music in '97.
that's the thing, right? And I keep like, because I'm still in the game, and I keep talking to people, and it's crazy because I see a bunch of people, and I'm like, fuck, it's too bad. But okay, so I keep saying it's too bad that we didn't have like uh, uh, anything that was solidified or in the news or in the media to draw a timeline or whatever and say like, yo, these guys were there then, because we were there and we were in the hip hop game. We were competing with like people from Ottawa. We were doing shows in like, so we was in Elmer and we were doing shows in Hull. We were doing shows in Gatineau because we used to deal with like the Saint Jeunesse, like the youth center of our city.
Yo, hold up. Shout out Lemef with the raid. Y'all gotta watch this though. Eazy El Dee is telling us about being a fucking rapper in '97. Okay? '97.
And what's crazy is that I do actually have tapes. Like we used to record each other when I have like a tape recorder back then, like a camcorder. And we used to bring it to our practices and show and shit. And actually, just because I recently moved, those boxes are like, I found them. So I'm like, I'm gonna go through them like pretty soon, whenever I have time, and I'll definitely probably digitalize some
You
of those
got
things.
to, man. Or at the
It needs
very
it needs
least,
needs to be documented, man. Like people need to, and there's only like one or two people that are still in the game from Gatineau that know about this.
bro, I
You
don't
know,
even know
and
where Gatineau is. I'm surprised you told me English people are there. Call it ignorant Montreal shit, because I've kind of realized I'm kind of
I
ignorant about
don't know, but
Quebec.
yeah, Elmer. So Gatineau is
I'm Googling
well,
it right now, like where it is.
Dalutawe. It's Dalutawe. It's right beside Ottawa. It's just across the
All
river.
right, Gatineau Hall. Fuck.
Exactly.
Okay, I was just off in my head. I apologize for all my dumb shits. I'm back into my understanding where it is. Makes more sense to me now.
You have Gatineau, Hall, and Elmer, and then eventually it fusionized and it became Gatineau.
I have
That's
a
what a lot of people.
homeboy right now in fucking Gatineau doing shit. I feel like a fool, but we back in it. We've situated ourselves. That's cool though. Thanks for the clarification, Spectres. So y'all was okay. You were out there. Even still, that's Canadian hip hop shit in
Yeah.
'96 or '7. Back in the days when technology is hard to come by. Everybody's telling me how inaccessible shit is. Montreal's
Yeah.
indie G shit, if I understand, is only now starting to come to life at this time. So like, how are y'all like connected like that? How are you literally recording and shit?
Well, okay. So back then we didn't have access yet to our own beats. The own beats started coming in like 99, 2000. Okay. So basically back then we were just recording freestyles over beats. So we were lucky enough that, so basically we were the youngins. Okay. So before us, there was these rappers from Elmer, which were the 148 squad. And that was a 148 one, well, actually, sorry, not 148 squad. 148 squad, it became that after, but it was 148 trio. So that's my boy Gregory Stretch, Prime Time, and Wheel of Fortune. So basically, these are pretty much the dudes that we used to look up to in the local hip hop scene. And aside from that, you had the Nine Planets, you had you had the Boogaloo tribes on the Ottawa side. So these are pretty much, that's the circuit of rap that was going on in the 90s in Ottawa, Gatineau. So then, yeah, and like my boy's saying, Dim Life, eventually that became after Junior Fat Squad. We had some things, whatever. Then other things start forming
All
because
right,
other cats
but
used
hold
to
up.
join us.
Let's go back to run it back. So you guys is in this budgeting Anglo scene because I forgot that guy knows next to Ontario. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Y'all be doing your shits, but you're still like, how? Where are you recording? Like,
So okay, so here's the thing. So as I was getting into with the 148 trio, they had access to a DJ. And this is why I also learned how to scratch and how to DJ, because there was this guy who goes by the name of DJ Chef, aka Philippe Modar. Rest in peace, baby.
rest in peace.
He was the DJ of the other guys, of the guys that we used to look up to, but he was cool with the youngins too. And so what we used to do, I used to go to his house and record freestyles. Back then, like, you used to rap and the DJ would just throw
Nah,
on
dude,
beats.
I was 10. I don't remember that. I was 10 and I'm super white back then because my parents be like fucking like evil music with cussing and shit, unless it was Nelly.
So there you go. So so back then that was the style. You had your DJ and he would just throw beats and you would just fucking rap your head off over, and then you
Yo,
would
that
switch up your flow
like with like
and
a
everything.
DJ in the room and shit. Like nobody's told me this shit. Ain't nobody had access to a DJ. That's some Eazy El Dee shit. Like I'm saying, I talked to like a lot of people now. I'm not gonna say a crazy number, but from multiple places. Usually at this age, you're getting the bro, we were jerry rigging tape recorders, or bro, we had access to shit
I
mics.
was doing that too on the side, but we had access to this guy. Like I said, this guy.
What?
So this
That's
guy at the time,
fire.
yeah. Like and we used to record on like those big tapes there, like the big like studio tapes kind of thing. That's what he used to record with.
You guys actually recorded on the
Bro,
old
I still
school
have that.
tape,
I
bro.
still have that on tape too, eh? Like I
That
have
sounds like a
that
nightmare
that
to edit,
particular
though.
that particular freestyle that I'm talking to you about that I did at his crib or that I worked on and did on at his crib. I still have it on tape, like here. Like
That's so cool that you like can like reference that. But that y'all recorded on that old school
yeah,
shit and you just had access to it on some y'all was there and doing it.
yeah.
That's
So
amazing.
then so then after I used to do my raps, we used to chill and he used to teach me how to scratch. I was a scratch nerd back then. I only wanted to know how to scratch. So he
Yo,
taught me how to
let's
scratch.
just do this for the sake of it. I know you be using the DJ jargon. I'm at this point super aware of what scratching is, but run it back 4 years. I don't know that I realized scratching and DJing were effectively like, chains and specific things. So why don't you run us through what that even means to the people?
So, well, I definitely knew because like I used to watching the rap videos and watching Wild Style and all those hip hop videos back then. We were really like kids in love with hip hop, so we would do our homework and search for it and stuff like that. So we knew definitely what we were definitely doing.
So scratching
Um,
though, like
so yeah, basically, so back then, how it used to work is that you used to have these records that were just sounds, all sorts of sounds. You'll hear like laser beams. You'll hear like dogs barking. And then you can just scratch those sounds, and that was the style. And like back then, it was like me. I used to love the DMC championships. So you had these guys that were mixing a bunch of songs at like in seconds and just scratching the hell out of these records. So then these records became accessible, and my boy had one. So we used to replicate how I actually learned how to scratch. We used to replicate the scratches on Wheels of Steel of Outkast in '95. Well,
that's
this was probably
fucking
'96
wild.
then. So it was probably a year after we all knew the song, but it's just that so he had that record where he was able to find those same scratch samples of Wheels of Steels. So we had it. So we would just run the instrumental and replicate the scratch. And then once we had it, we're like, okay, we'll flip it this way. And then we start coming up with our own scratch styles and stuff like that. So yeah,
So
man, this is
motherfuckers be out there if y'all are listening and they had the DJ shits. So they was out there literally trying to copy the scratches. Like it's
yeah,
a cause yo, one time in history, a dude had to convince me that a fucking DJ setup was an instrument. I wasn't really certain why at first, cause it wasn't clicking this whole side of it. But as time goes on, you start to hear a lot of the scratching elements, and you realize that's like a motherfucker fucking up the record to make it sound excellent, right? And just the idea that you would, and I mean, it sounds probably really obvious to a lot of people, but the idea that there are people who sat there and just replicated the scratches that they heard across different songs they loved is just, it's the first I've heard it. So that's really interesting to me that that was like a thing y'all were doing. And I wonder how many
well,
other people did that shit.
well, back in the then, that's how hip hop was. Like if you hear a lot of like rappers when how they started rapping, they used to copy or they started by rapping somebody else's verse, and they're like, oh shit, how I spit it is exactly how I did. Let me see if I can put my own words to it, and that's that. It's like the same thing. Like, well, mainly all music nowadays is a remix of something.
Yo,
It's
what's up,
something that was already
Magnanimous?
created.
What's up, Audiophile and
It's something
Neve?
that was already created and recreated now. You know?
I hear
Yo,
you.
Magnanimous,
And
what up?
again, that's
Audio,
why I
what up?
said, like, I know it's an obvious thing in the sense that, like, I literally used to rap a bunch of DMX songs and shit, and then I, developed my own shit. But, like, I just never really think of it, like, scratching as an instrument that often. And perhaps that's because I don't talk to enough DJs. I talk to a lot of DJs who kind of pursue the other route where it's more about blending songs. So most of the DJs I have
That's the
talked to are like on that end of it, and none of them be talking to me about scratching. So like to me, it's kind of exciting because I don't know that much about it, and this is like
that's
how
the
it
thing.
goes when I.
I was in love with scratching first and foremost. I didn't care. Not that I didn't care about mixing. I learned about mixing at the same time because it was the process. Like my boy used to tell me, okay, mix this song with this one, and But at first, me, I was just all about the scratching. Like I didn't care about the rest. I just wanted to know how that DJ was doing that, and I was like, I just wanted to hear myself do it. you know that's how I got in love with that first, but then yeah, eventually, like, bro, like
Fuck's a
a lot of
triple
people,
click flare. I'm very happy to ask Easy LD about a triple click flare, DJ Magnanimous.
I don't do triple click flares, I don't do even flares.
What's a flare? Bro, I don't
So a
know this
flare,
shit. Like, I don't know any of the DJ shit.
me, yo, like that's the thing too, like it's cool, but at the same time it's not cool because a lot of people when they hear me scratch, they're like, oh shit, this guy knows how to fucking scratch. I'm like, bro, I'm very basic with my scratch. It's just that the basic stuff that I do with my scratch, I just know how to do it very well. But don't ask me about getting into details about the names of the scratch and scratch
Okay, so
combos.
a flare is a scratch.
Yes,
I,
a fire,
because
it's
I can Google that shit now.
oh yeah, for sure. And you'll have a certain sound when you do
Okay.
the.
No, this is super interesting. And again, it's just because this is my ignorance and not thinking about it.
Yo, anonymous me. I wish I can crab, bro. It's the crab that I want to do.
Easy's scratch
Crab it.
patterns are fine. Yo, I heard Easy do his thing. Easy makes enjoyable fucking all of his shits.
But that's the thing, it's just because I know like my basic, and I'm able to fuck with my own basic knowledge. So,
Yo, but like, even if you look at hip hop, everybody be trying to be fancy, and yet really everybody's best song is kind of some of their more basic flows. Even like Eminem, some of his classics are some of the more simple, like just digestible shits, and a lot of that shit on the like complexity, like it's really cool, but that foundational basicness done right kind of works, but like done right, like experienced and like laid out. And then, yo, that's a great point, as Neved said. If you can't be dope basic, how are you supposed to be dope complex? Like, that was my
there you
biggest
go.
mistake as an MC starting off, is I was trying to be complex before I understood the basics. And a
I,
lot of people jump on that shit. Like, you want to shred before you learn some fucking chords.
yeah.
Um, that's wild, though. So you guys are basically have access to the fucking studio, and you guys are in your, like, what, teenage years running this shit? And you guys are
And what was
performing,
cool
too?
too, yeah, we're performing. So at these years, we were like I said, we were doing we were hanging a lot at the youth center and stuff like that, and they would give us access. And when there was like shows or whatever, we were able to perform. And I got one of our performance on tape too. It's kind of wild, but yeah, man. So even then, like because of our big brother, he would lend us his fucking turntable. So we were literally kids doing fucking hip hop shows, but with real turntable shit and like cordless mics and shit back then. Like it was crazy.
Bro, that's a flex. I
Fuck
call it a
yeah.
flex.
Now that I'm thinking about it and the way I'm talking about it, I'm like, hell yeah, it was a fucking flex. We
Like,
were like,
I'm not being like this drilling down into it out of like fake enthusiasm. I'm saying I've talked to a lot of rappers from Montreal, a few from Quebec, bunch from New York. This is one of the more interesting I'm a fucking teenager stories. It isn't the most, it's in the top 20-ish for sure. I couldn't rank it. It's like up there. Like this is some like, damn dude, that's like you really doing it at that age. Whereas I don't know that I ever hit the level of really doing it that you're really doing it.
yeah, but again, it's not like, yeah, we were doing this. We were, you know, we were like doing it in our own city, and that's it. Like it's not like we had like a huge, following or anything. Again, we were the youngins compared to to the 148, 148 trio that I was telling you. Those were the cats that were really in the hip hop game, in the hip hop scene, doing big shows in Ottawa, in Hall, everywhere. You know, we were just little kids doing our little shit, but we were following their footsteps.
I mean, I hear you. It doesn't change the significant dopeness. Cause
No,
yo,
for sure. No, it doesn't.
sometimes I feel like, especially my little age group of we were coming into the internet before the older people could catch up with us group. Um, like we didn't, because there was no history on the internet for us when we was on YouTube's. It wasn't really like easy to find 1996 Quebec performances. Or it might have been. I never thought to look for it. I'll be fucking real with you as a 19-year-old or whatever. But like as time went on and we started rapping and shit, like there was no history, so we came in kind of arrogant and hot. You know, we didn't know what our elders, so to speak, had actually done. So our little petty accomplishments, we thought there was hot shit sometimes. I'm speaking for me and others, not everyone. But like, yo, I kind of seen some of our accomplishments be hella trash by comparison to some of the real like shit where people have done to pave lanes or taken risks or taken losses or just had experiences. Like to do it in 97 is like a difficulty factor, especially coming from a smaller town, in my opinion, like than it is over here. It's just
But
respect.
it was the beginning of everything too. Like even when we started, like when they started connecting, like outside of Ottawa, and they started connecting with Montreal, it was the very beginning of like Sans Pression. It was SP. It was the very beginning of like Yvon Crevé and all that stuff. So I remember there was one show, and I remember I couldn't make it, and it was the biggest show for my dudes, and they were on the lineup with these guys from Montreal. And I was like, fuck, I couldn't make it. I was obviously too young or whatever. I couldn't go out that late or whatever. But yeah, like I was definitely in that circle. I knew what was going on in the hip hop world back then. Like it was, we were doing.
And it's incredible how like deep the history is with that. Like, so how do you get promotion and shit? Let's run it back to 97 again. So like
So
nowadays everybody's like pay for ads. All right, let's pretend you can't do it quite like that. Or maybe
bro,
you can't afford payola. How do you fucking come through and run your shit to get some buzz in the 90s?
so here's the thing with us is that we were, even though we were from Elmer, we would spend a lot of time in Ottawa, going out in the nightlife or hanging out in the mall, busting freestyles on the corners with other rappers or whatever. So we were in the circuit. So basically, we would get with the promoters and like say, yo, okay, you got a party that you're doing. Well, let me pass out your flyers and fucking put me on the fucking name on the party as a host or whatever, or get me a X amount of VIP tickets and I'll bring my squad in or whatever. So we had to be, you had to be in the scene in order to be known and to know that, oh shit, that guy's gonna be performing.
No, but even then, it wasn't just like be in the scene. It was let me help you.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So it was the thing with the flyers. I would. One of the biggest promoters in Ottawa was Trevor Every Ivory back then, and we used to be like this because I used to fucking go to his store, grab tons of flyers, and just go out and like pass the flyers to people and network with people, talk with people. So that's what the promotion was, bro. That was social media.
Let's be
Literally, that was
let's be
social
real
media.
though. I'm pretty sure the people that go to shows and actually make the effort to talk to promoters do better than the people that don't. Just a little assumption.
Of course.
Um, no, but that's
No,
a big tip. It's a big key to.
like saying out of sight, out of mind, right? So if you're not on site, people are not gonna think about you. You gotta be out there.
No, it's big facts. So you guys are like running it back then. Were you pressing things? Were you dealing with the whole,
No,
or
no,
was
we're
it just
definitely not pressing. And again, then so the first time we actually booked some studio time. So this is after. Okay, so here's the thing. So with GPS, whatever, we were doing our mixtape things and rapping over beats and whatever. Then eventually, some of us or some of the guys started getting like we were getting into like contests with like the government and stuff like that. So there was some of my boys that started getting included on like these compilations of rap. Like it was through the government, but it was still like they would get people from Toronto, and it was one of the first times that I've heard of Classified. and one of my boys is on the same compilation. Actually, my boy Chat Game. I don't know if you guys know Chat Game
I
Dialect.
do know Chad Game. But
So yo, that's bro.
I
If
don't
you
like know him personally,
yes,
but I've consumed his music.
okay, well, Dialect. See, me and Dialect grew up together. Like Dialect, I'm probably a year older than Dialect, and we pretty much took Dialect in our crew back in the days in high school. So because it was pretty much we were the only rappers in our high school. So you had if you were down to with rap, you had to be with us. There was
Right.
no other crews or anything like that. So that's why, and then that's how the Dim Life got formed and everything else. So these so
All right.
then I
So
another
before we
side. I
go on to
started doing
that,
other
I gotta ask the question: did y'all battle back then? Because that was asked, and I really want to know the
it was
answer.
constantly battles. We would just every time we would freestyle, we would battle each other. And the thing with us too is that how we got so good in rebuttals and everything is because even if we were not rapping, we were still roasting each other all the time. Like we grew up like that, literally, like roasting each other on a daily basis, every minute and shit like that. So when it come to rap back then, we used to come up with those rebuttals real quick.
Bro, I would be soft as fuck by all of y'all standards. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I got a little harder as I got older, but back then, no way. Shout out Willie for coming through. Willie World's up in the hizzy. Um, but yeah, it's nice to see y'all chatting though. It makes it littier. I feel like when people are extra chatty, it makes it feel more like a show. I'm just like way more enthusiastic about the whole thing.
Of course,
But
it's all about the energy.
yeah. Plus, I love the emotes. Feel free to throw them up. We have the emote wall, which is one of the best things ever in Twitch. But like you're all back then, and then the dim thing. I forgot the name of it.
Shouts to Dim Life, man. Shouts to Verbal Tech. Shouts to Jesse, VConnects. Those are my dudes, man.
So walk us through a little bit of that too, because you're saying this around 2000 now. So y'all been at it a little
So,
bit.
okay, so yeah, so Dim Life came a little bit after that, but so basically I took another turn. I started doing some other things, started hanging with other people, and not that I had left rap, but I wasn't as much as into it, and I wasn't hanging out with the pretty much the people that I started it with, and then I I say this because it's the only way that I can kind of see it is it's kind of like if I graduated or I jumped the stage and I started hanging out with the people that were actually in the scene then. So then that's when we formed the 148 squad. When the 148 trio split, my boy Gregory started recruiting other people and recruited me, another guy from Elmer, and two other guys. We had some R&B in there and everything, and that's the first time that we actually went into the studio and recorded something. This was like 2000, I would have to say, and this is the first time like we're starting to have access to our own beats. And once we had access to our own beats, that's when we started saying, okay, we need to hit the studio. And we ended up recording maybe two songs from that one studio session. And
Yo, I bet you were mad efficient in that session. How, like,
me, I was ready. Like I was ready because I'm having the Latino fucking ethics. I was like, I was there. I was ready. I was ready with my verse.
and
Like,
I'm like,
yo,
yo,
I
studio time must
expected.
have been pricey back then. Is all I'm thinking
Oh
in my
hell
head.
yeah! So
I'm
that's
like
why. And
ready to
then we were
fucking
all
go.
talking. It was like, yo, guys, we don't have a lot of time. Let's do our best. Let's do it. So the two dudes that were putting that pressure were the two dudes that were the longest to fucking do their parts. My other boy, we went in. I think we did it on even on the first take. I was like, yo, piff pop. I think I laid it down and then I did my back vocals over it and I said, yo, I'm good. And yeah, man.
Yeah, that's fire. That's a good first studio story. I came in, the other guy was annoying. I fucking proved him wrong. He was a loafer. Fuck that guy. I don't mean
That's
fuck
it.
that guy. I don't want to know, but like
No.
in the
But yeah,
context of
yeah.
the story.
But then yeah, so then after that, probably we did probably a couple of shows after that too, and then real life started kicking in, and then everybody started having their own stories, uh, you know, settling down with girlfriends and stuff like that. So
Mm, girlfriends do have a big impact on people.
yeah, especially back then. So yeah, man. So things starting taking another turn. So then I hung up the mic in '04 maybe, and then in '05, no, actually not '04. That was way too late. I probably hung, yeah, '04. And then in '05, I moved to Montreal and I started beat making.
Mm. So you're a
Like,
Montreal beat maker in 2005.
yeah. Um, I like D-Track has a track on my beat, and also the El Incognito from Toronto has a track on my beat. But that was like, I wasn't doing it. I was doing it more as a hobby more than anything. I wasn't like going out there and like shopping my beats and all that stuff. I used to fuck with Reason back then, and with the fucking same keyboard. You can't see it, but my keyboard's still there. Um, but yeah, man. So I did that probably for a year or two, and then probably in 2008, that's when I picked up a controller and I got into the whole DJ life again.
So right. So over the 2000s, you're rapping for a while. It doesn't end up working out in the way you want because everyone gets kind of old. That was what I took
That
from that.
too, and myself too. I started like, I had a serious girlfriend back then too. I was living with her. I lived with her for like 4 years, so music wasn't really, you
No,
know.
I hear you. Yeah, honestly though, even for a minute, like especially if you get like a job or something that's actually kind of fire, and
There
your
you
whole
go.
like standard
Exactly.
of living changes, and you're like, oh, say word, and then you
Yeah.
like run some math, and it's like, like I never
Is
quit
it?
my job to be a starving artist. I got promoted to it for my art, and I'm not like trying to say it, but it actually took like several years of not having a life, 100%. And then now I can maybe start going to shows and shit for like the first time in like fucking, I don't know, 6 years, like fucking 5 years. But like, yeah,
Definitely had to
so I
take like
relate
a,
heavy to that.
music definitely took a back seat for a couple years.
No, it makes sense. So you come back into it, you do the beat making for a
And
minute.
also like when I was like 17 years old, or yeah, 17 years old, I moved out of my parents. Uh, so I was like on my own with one of my homeboys for like a year and a half. So it was like, a bunch of different things. Like I said, that's when I started hanging out with different people, doing other things and stuff like that.
No, I feel you. So then you get to the point where it's '08, and you're getting back into the DJ game, and you're in what you
So
said.
yeah, so
Is this where you're in Saint Henri?
yeah, actually, it is. It is when I'm in St. Henry. So how it happened is just that, because I've always been the dude bringing the music to parties. Always, always, always. I was always the dude on the tapes or on the CDs and whatever, and providing the music for the party. So, and in St. Henry, I had a pretty big apartment, and I was having a lot of parties. I used to work at Distributel back then, so I was in the office type of world, and so I was inviting all sorts of people. And then eventually I'm like, yo, because then I started hearing about the the Serato and all that shit, and I'm like, oh, I'm sure by now there's probably other softwares on the computer to DJ or whatever. I was just looking for a place where I can quickly just fade in, fade out to another song. I wasn't thinking of like, actually mixing songs or whatever, because I was like, if I'm home, I'll just be doing this as we're chilling, kicking the party at my place. So then I got one of these fucking $100 fucking controllers from fucking Future Shop. It was bullshit, bro. It's super bullshit.
Shut up, Future Shop, for having shitty instruments.
Yeah. So then, but I was like, okay. And then at least I was like, okay, cool. I'm able to see all my library. And that's when I brought in all my MP3s. Because that's the thing, too. All through these years, I've never, like, yeah, making music took a back seat, but I never stopped listening to music. And I never stopped being a hip hop head and a music collector. So all these years, I've still been collecting music. So when I got into like the scene, like the library of the DJ software, I was like, okay. So then I started putting in all my music into my computer and like having a huge fucking library of music.
Shut up the
So then,
people who bought their first controllers from Future Shop. I mean, it makes sense, right? Like, it makes sense as a
bro,
place you
like I
would
said,
go.
I wasn't looking for anything. I wasn't saying, okay, I'm gonna get into this and I'm gonna be like, yo, I didn't even
Nah,
know
I
if there
hear
was
you.
digital scene, nothing. I was just thinking, yo, I just want something that I'm able to mix one song to another,
Nah, it
and that's
sounds
it.
to
I
me
knew it existed.
like a dude who
I
has
knew
a
it.
barbecue and then says to himself, "I want a better barbecue," because it's in the same kind of context, right? Like you're having parties, and you were the king of the castle and shit, and you just wanted to be like a mightier king of your castle, and I fucks with that. That makes a lot of sense to me. And
You get-
it's such an authentic, like, and I don't mean like other things aren't authentic, but like, no, this is organic. That's what I meant to say. It's such an organic fucking transition, right? This isn't like you said, you're not trying to be a DJ. You just want to have better parties at your crib. And
Yeah.
I find that beautiful, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So then, so then I started getting curious about the software and this fucking controller. I'm like, yo, I'm sure there's something that's more responsive because I couldn't do. And also, the one of the reasons why I got that controller was just to do fucking switchbacks. Because I was still a scratch nerd and like a switchback nerd from back in the days of just doing that. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to fucking bring it back. But then I was like, okay, this fucking controller sucks. It sucks, obviously. I'm sure there's something. And then I started, you know, getting intrigued and then started doing my research for other stuff until I saw the the Vestax VCI 300, and that was a life changer for me.
So this is your second controller, because DJ
Actually,
Magnanimous asked if it was your
no,
first.
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. I'm lying. Before that, I had the Newmark, the Mix Track, the Mix Track Pro. That was the very first money maker that I ever had. No, actually, maybe not money maker, but it was the first controller that I used to do parties outside of my house. So I upgraded from doing parties. Now I was getting, yo, you're doing a party, I'll come DJ at your party. You know?
You know,
So that's what with the Newmark fucking Mix Track Pro.
no, that's so practical. That's what's fucking cool about being a DJ. Because when I thought to myself, I actually was like, because you were saying the guy at the party who controls the music, and I've been at those hotel parties where nobody want to be that guy, and I
But
never.
see, I was voluntarily that guy. I was
That's
like, yo, I'll
fair.
put the fucking music anywhere, everywhere. I had the music. I used to always carry my backpack, obviously, and a bunch of CDs, mixed CDs. I was a king burn CDs back then too, so I was burning CDs left and right. So I had tons of mixtapes and fucking, you know, burnt on CDs. So anywhere I would go, I would have my stash of CDs and fucking just play the music anywhere, man.
That's fair. I mean,
Mhm.
people like you are beautiful. Is all I'm saying. Like, I didn't know how important a DJ person was until like later on in life when I got asked to make my first playlist for a fucking work event, and I'm like, it took me 4 hours and it was garbage, dude. Garbage. Like, I don't want to front like it was good. It was better than what they did, but it was still bad by any reasonable standard. So motherfuckers who can playlist and curate are like real gifts to like a lot of the entertainment industry that I think are highly undervalued as like a skill set.
Yeah. Anyway, so yo, after that Newmark came in the fucking so with the Newmark 2 again, I was like, okay, this is better than the other stupid controller. I can scratch, but I don't think the scratch is accurate like I thought that it needed to be. And
Mm.
that all changed once I got the Vestax VCI 300.
So
And shouts to
basically,
Magnanimous, as Magnanimous knows. Magnanimous has it also, I believe, and he knows what the fuck that I'm talking
is
about.
that what you're using now, or is this a
No,
different?
no, 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 hell no. Of course, that's an old machine, but that machine became my first money maker. I brought it to clubs because it was a pro machine. It was a pro controller. You can actually plug like quarter inches in the back. It had like an actual sound card, and you could have plugged it into a real sound system and be like, yo, full blast. So it
Okay.
was like my first
So,
actual pro or semi pro controller that I was able to like I said, bring to
see,
clubs.
so
That's
the
how I
first
started.
one was like more accurate. So basically, as your quality goes up, when you're saying responsiveness, this is like literally the records level of sense. Like a mouse is fucking like you would pay top dollar to have a better gaming mouse and shit, and you're basically doing the same shit with DJ gear.
Yeah. So
That's
yeah,
super
so
nifty.
so with that one, I was able to get once I got the VCI, it came with Serato Pro, and that's like I said, that was a game changer. And like the responsive was legit, the scratching was legit, and then I was able to do the scratches like crazy on the controller, and people were like, "What the fuck, man? That's a fucking toy, and you're making these fucking crazy scratches on." I was like, "Yeah." And till this day too, I like when I do quick mobile gigs. I'll bring my controller and I'll fucking scratch the shit out of it. And then people are like, how the fuck are you doing that on a controller? Midas touch.
Y'all gotta explain why that's significant, because if other people are like me, we're looking at you going, wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait, so the controller.
Shouts to my boy DJ White Sox. I was doing the release party for my boy the Trac a couple weeks ago in Montreal, and I was like, going wild with the fucking controller. And then he comes on stage, he looks at me, he just starts like, head nodding. He's like, How are you doing that on this? I'm like, come on, bro. You already know, guy.
So like, what is the challenges of a control? Like, I'm not like knowledgeable enough to fully understand this flex, but I feel like it's a flex worth understanding.
It is, well, I guess it's just because the turntable actually turns and you have the actual control because you're actually controlling the vinyl and the music that's on the vinyl. On the controller, that thing doesn't rotate, so you're kind of like either going through your eyes watching the wave on the computer, or you're actually really knowing the songs. And I think that's my advantage, I guess. Me, that I literally know like every single part of the song, so I'm able to grab the right part and
So
scratch it.
so
And I
just
guess with the
so the controller means that one of the DJ things, like the record that's playing, is playing the live song, and there's not like anything else in the middle. So you're saying that you're able to grab a live record and just do a wicked or whatever, and just make it sound like whatever, but like not have any latency or in advances or anything like that, right?
well, yeah, well, nowadays with the controllers and the vinyls is pretty much super accurate. So that's not an issue anymore. The latency issue or anything like that, it's almost like almost 100% accurate. So
Right.
on both, whether it's on controller or if it's on turntable. So yeah.
Okay, so I have a better understanding of what the fuck you mean now, and I can see how that's a flex. That's dope, man. So you just like
So
apply.
Anonymous is getting into the specifics of the actual Vestax, but yeah, that's exactly what it is, man. The Vestax were able to be so accurate with the thing, and like you could adjust the little platter to your own liking and stuff like that. It was just a great fucking machine.
What
And
the fuck is
like
a?
he said,
What
to
does
this day, he
adjusting a
hasn't
platter
let
mean?
that. What the platter is the thing, like the turntable, the table, the platter,
Right,
thing that.
right. No, okay, I get it. Just because that's the thing about it, is a lot of this is jargon. So you're saying
Right.
it like y'all
Yeah,
understand it.
totally
I'm
right.
like, the rest of the audience out there needs to also follow this too. Let us
So
stop.
basically, okay, so the platter is like it's the round thing, but some of them are like heat sensitive, meaning that as soon as your finger touches it, it'll stop the song or whatever. So it's heat sensitive. Others had the other technology, which I don't know, which like maybe touch sensitive or like whatever. So, but with the Vestax one, they really nailed it down. And also, so what Magnanimous is saying is that, so on that platter, it was like, I think it was touch sensitive more than anything. But anyways, so it's very accurate, and also like a turntable. You guys can see my turntables, right?
Yeah, clear, clear.
So like a turntable, us, when we're mixing, instead of touching directly the song, we're gonna be touching the side of the record to like slow it down or like speeding it up to be able to fit the mix exactly when you're mixing a song, right?
Bro, I never would
But
have known that.
with that controller, it was one of the first controllers where you were able to do that with the platter. So instead of just touching the top of the platter, you could just touch the side in order to speed up the platter or to slow it down in order to do your mix properly.
And that is just match the tempos of the song, so everything kind of seems pretty
Yes,
seamless.
but obviously, like when you have like vinyl rips or you have like actual songs, sometimes the BPMs are not quite, you know, so you have to do that in live time
Okay, all of
to be
this is
able to.
super nifty. All of it, especially your visual demonstration. That shit was super fire. You fucking making this an amazing experience, Mr. Eazy El Dee. That's all I'm trying to say. And like it's super, it's cool. Like I know for a fact people don't appreciate things they don't understand, and the learning curves on a lot of things are hard. So like you're like, I put my finger here. I'm like, I see you now. I get it. I didn't even know DJs did
But
that.
see, but see again, it goes again, knowing your music, knowing your songs and things like that. Like, like I have songs that are probably like vinyl rips, and sometimes you like that BPM will go like either over or actually like mixing like, I don't know, 80s songs or like disco songs. Even though the BPM sends one thing, that band is doing another fucking BPM throughout the song, and that BPM changes throughout the song. And wherever the timing that song you wanna blend it in with another song, that BPM could be changing. So sometimes you'll see that DJ fucking struggling and like, adding that extra to that platter, and you're like, what the fuck is he doing? Well, he's adjusting the mix live because it's not perfect, you know but people don't either realize or don't hear
No,
it
people
because
have no
we're that
fucking idea
good,
any of this shit's
we're,
happening.
we're
Cause
that good of making that seamless because that's our job of a fucking DJ.
and
To
we're
create a
that
fucking
bad
mix
of
that's
noticing shit. Like, if you were to actually ask people about BPM half the time, like, ain't most people really be following that. Like in the like the people at the places where the DJs be at. But yo, I swear, in my life, not one time have I ever really thought about what the fuck is happening, like, to that level of detail. I just figured DJs be like doing their thing and
uh,
stuff happens, and it look cool, and I fucks
and
with it.
again, especially if you like if like me, Magnanimous or whatever, we are DJs that play music that's been created in different decades. That music is definitely fucking different. So you're gonna have to manually adjust as you're fucking mixing.
I mean, to DJ Magnanimous's point, Steve Aoki did not help your case. Um, like his entire set's playing and he's throwing cakes at people and shit. Like it's kind of like it is, but like I think in a lot of ways, it's just like I don't really see a lot of it. Even when DJs be doing it, and a lot of the DJs I know are some of the humblest, meekest dudes I've ever fucking met in my life, and they do not like grandstanding or showboating in any realistic way to like kind of
Of
hype
course.
themselves up. And I love that about them. That makes fucking great people. But like super bad for the people giving the shit to the level that they should. Like I don't know.
That's why too. Like I love Twitch because there are some actual viewers that look into that or that hear that shit, and they'll tell me on private and say, "Yo, the way you mix that with that," I'm like, "Oh shit!" There's actually people
Nah.
watching this and actually paying attention. So I fell in love with that shit. You know,
Honestly, I had the chance to do 3 streams where I freestyled over this EDM dude DJing. I spent the whole shout out for the follow. Hey, it's a girl 96. But like I remember the whole time I'm freestyling or whatever, I'm watching the man's hands move and how every moment it impacted the sound in some way, and I'm like, yo, this is so riveting because you don't see this shit, right? You're not really like allowed to like watch the DJ. And I don't know, it isn't like you're at the rock show or like I saw Linkin Park a few times. They got a DJ. They're not fucking putting a camera over Joseph Hahn's handwork. It's all on Chester's face and shit. Rest in peace. But like, it's just kind of like, I don't know why though, because it's so fucking cool when you're actually watching it. Just even your hands moving. So I'm like, bro, so that's the knob, that's the volume knob. What knob? Like it's just so
this
curious.
is how crazy. Like I was into scratching back then. Like when I used to hear like a DJ mix or whatever, I used to imagine, like, I used to close my eyes and say, okay, he's on the right turntable right now and he's switching to the left. Oh shit, he's doing like, and you can tell, like, if you're a real DJ and your ear is very, very like fine, you'll know that shit. And I know Magnanimous is gonna know what I'm talking about, but like the Funk Master Flex Volume One, that's like to me, that's my DJ Bible. That's like my scratches come from there, my mixing comes from there. Like like that was my first learning fucking like
Bro,
mixtape
I've never even
ever.
thought to like go look at that shit from the perspective of what Funkmaster Flex be doing.
That's 1995. And back then, he used to record his mixtapes on turntables directly, one take. So, and you would hear, and this is what I'm telling you, you would hear the difference of a sound of the record playing on the left and on the record playing on the right. Like it would either be the pitch is a little bit off or that the sound is a little bit higher, but you would know that shit. And so here comes him doing his routines, and I would know what the fuck he was doing without having to see what he was doing. That's what I'm telling you, like how sick or how crazy I was for that
No,
shit
this is
back.
just impressive, dude. Like I'm it makes me want to go like care more about DJ shit and
Yeah,
stuff.
for sure.
Like
It's
I don't
addictive, bro. Once you understand and once you know the language that they're talking about, bro, it's like mind blowing. And seeing like greats like Craze or like Mixmaster Mike or like and seeing them do that shit and you know what they're doing, you're like,
I
it's fucked up.
empathize with that shit. I kind of get it. I mean, I dibbled and dabbled in bass guitar, so when I hear an ill ass bass line and I watch the
There you go.
fingers,
Same
I'm
thing.
like, so like I'm empathizing fucking heavy with what you're saying. And I know that there be DJ competitions and shit, but I don't know fuck all about the real. Cause let's be real, I don't know. Like I just don't know anybody that be like, I'm going to the DJ competition. None of the rappers I know be talking about it. Um,
Yeah.
none of the beat makers I know really be talking about it. Like, and I'm not trying to shade anybody. I'm saying it's wildly interesting to me how segregated a lot of these different scenes seem to be because it's all cool. And I don't know why I never think about it because it's just never in my face and some shit. Again, I'm saying all this to kind of like rectify it in my brain a little bit and give a shit
Hmm.
more. But like, I don't even I couldn't answer a question about is there like a scrap like where would I go in Montreal? Like I couldn't answer any of that shit. I know Under Pressure does its thing, but that's like
Yeah.
once a year.
Big up Under Pressure. Yeah. Under Pressure. I've been part of Under Pressure like probably the last fucking 10 years maybe. Shouts to Under Pressure, man. Always there, always for the culture. Even before like getting to the DJ game or when I was rapping, I used to come down from Gatineau to come to
Say a word.
to network and fucking freestyle with the fucking hip hop world back then. So yeah, 100% fucking shouts to Under Pressure, man.
I appreciate what the Victor Wooten of DJing means. That dude blows your fucking mind if you ever watch. Yo, do
I'm gonna get
yourself,
another video. I'll be right back.
do your thing. But that's it's all wild to me. Like for me, like the last year and a half has I guess kind of been a journey of going, oh, safe word. There's like an iceberg of this shit inside of the city, inside of the culture, inside of all of it, and like I feel blessed to like have people willing to explain the shit to my ignorant ass. That's a blessing, is all I'm saying. Um, but yeah, shut up under pressure. They let me do it.
Yo, hold up. Ismail said something about Tito. Okay, when Brother Ali was
Yeah,
performing. I prefer. Well, I was fucking already the Rugged Man's DJ for On the Pressure Festival a couple years ago. His DJ couldn't cross the border. The promoter who brought him was my boy. He's like, yo, he calls me. He's like, yo, you want to DJ for Already the Rugged Man? I just hung up. I'm there,
dude, that's a flex. I mean,
bro.
I would,
And
I would flex with that. That sounds awesome. What's it
I
like?
went to meet, I went to meet him at his hotel like just before the show. He transferred me the songs, went through the playlist. Okay, here, this is what I want you to do here. I'm like, nah, nah, nah. And here you can throw scratches. I'm like, okay, do you want me like to, as you're talking, you want me to like throw some scratches in with the beats? He's like, yeah, 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 do that hip hop shit. I was like, all right, cool. So he gave me like, creativity, whatever. And every time he would tell me, yo, drop the beat, I was just boom, drop the beat. And then like, mid show, as he's like, thanking everybody, whatever, it's like ram packed the people. He goes is like, of course, this is hip hop. Give it up for my man DJ Eazy El Dee. Not only once, but twice. He's like, nah. Give it up for my man DJ Eazy El Dee. I was nuts, man. In my head, then I was like, yo,
Bro,
I was dying in my
I
head.
feel that. Like that's like, it's not a lot of people I would like geek over like that. All right, it's on a
All
list
right,
of
the
people
rugged
I would
man.
geek on over like
Big,
that.
Biggie wanted to sign R.A. the Rugged Man.
All
That's
right,
how
the
fucking
Rugged Man's a
the Rugged Man is
vibe.
crazy.
And he's so authentic and he's so fun. Like
Crazy.
the fact that he did the WAP remix, bro. that made me love him even more. You know, like just when you think he can't come up with ways to make you fuck with him more, he just keeps doing it.
Yo, Spectres, man, who are you, man? Tell me who you are. I know you know. I know you because
It's the beauty of the internet. You just sometimes have to accept that people know who the fuck. Yo, Spectres, thanks for the follow though, for real. I appreciate that. Um,
bro.
but yeah, so like, yo, let's turn it back then. So you're 2008, you get your gear, because we got, this is all a tangent, a beautiful tangent. But like, you get your gear. How do you like migrate from being I'm a dude that throws parties into I'm a guy getting bank?
Well, so it's because I'm a firm believer of like not like if I got into something, I would go 100%. I would not half-ass it or anything like that. So when I first got the gear, my goal wasn't going to be the DJs on the club or anything like that. At first, I wasn't even thinking about that. But once I got comfortable and once I was able to like control the shit and be like, yo, I'm in control for several hours, and like knowing you're in control, then I was like, okay, now I think I'm ready to start doing clubs and to start building my brand. So then I came up with my name. I came up with like when I
Can you
started out.
explain how you came up with your name?
So um, at first, what I wanted to call myself was El Duran. The reason why is because one of my DJ idols from Ottawa was called El Karan, and that's the guy that I fell in love with his scratching and everything, and I pretty much replicated his scratches growing up. So he was the dude that I wanted to like pay homage to and stuff like that. So I was like, yo, I'll go by El Duran. El because being my first name, Lewis, Duran being my last name. But then I was like, I don't know if I want to have my name as a DJ name. You know,
That's fair.
thought it was like a bit corny, and I was like, yeah, I like it, but nah, it's like I don't know if I want my actual name there. So um, then I think I shortened it out to LD, so Louis Duran. But then the phonetic way came about, and I was like, oh shit. Actually, I'll do the LD, but I'll write it phonetically.
Yo, I
EL.
never even realized that's what you were doing there.
That's what it is. So, and then the easy came because okay, so I think what happened as I was doing some house chores or whatever, and I was hearing an interview with I think it was Grandmaster Easy something or and then I was thinking in the future I was like oh shit if ever like I wanted to have a DJ name that was dope if ever years after the Grandmaster would come so I was like oh shit Grandmaster no so that was that's the intonation that I was going for I wanted to that so that it sounds good if ever down the line I get the title of
So you're saying
Grandmaster.
Grandmaster LD didn't sound good.
Not super great. And then I heard I could say the Grandmaster Easy LP. I think no Easy LP is a producer. There's somebody else, and I don't know for some reason I'm forgetting that name, but it sounded like that. And then I'm like, oh my god, Easy LD, like Grandmaster Easy LD, if ever it comes to that. And then I just started saying Easy LD, Easy LD. I'm like, yo, I think I like this. And then people can just call me Easy, and that's it. And or just LD or whatever. So I'm like, oh shit, I think it really starts ringing a bell, and that's what I stuck with, man. Easy LD.
I fucks with
Of
it.
course, yo, we world. Of course, you got to earn
That's
it. That's
Willie.
why it was just an idea or a vision that I
Yeah,
saw in the
Willie.
future. I'm not.
You ain't
I
ever
would
sat
never. I
there
would
and
not
like
consider myself a
pictured.
grandmaster.
It's called visualization, bro.
Yeah,
It's in all of the fucking books. You're supposed to be visualizing the success of your future in order to manifest it into reality.
my man. There you go.
You know, that's facts. Law of attraction shit. Anyway, nah, nobody's saying he is. He's saying you gotta make sure that your name is proper when you there. That's called good planning. I respect that you put that level of thought in. I did not put thought into my first name, and it turned out it was a fucking tire. No, Shit. I No, I had H bomb for a second, and I found out that could offend people in Hiroshima and shit. And I was like, oh, that's a terrible fucking name. And then I moved to H man, and then there was an H man, and then HSR turned out to be a tire company, and Hamilton something fucking public transit. So that was shit. Now I want my government name. So,
But anyway, like at some point, because of the internet, like even your government saying your government name became some cool, you know.
I don't know. I just figured you can't copyright that shit. I own that shit. I don't care who else is out there. It's just fucking. And thankfully, my like it was spelled out in my logo, so it passes all the fucking DistroKid checks. um, how do you get a grandmaster title? I don't know a lot about this. Is this like an official thing, or is this more like an internet thing?
No, no. It's an official thing. It's way before the internet. But yeah, no, you become a grandmaster when you like, you know, you reach a certain amount of years into the hip hop game.
Is it like
And
clout oriented?
no. It's an actual like it's an honor. Like it's like a you know a samurai shit. You go down from samurai to samurai, and this is a DJ thing. It's not super popular because it's only DJs that actually know the shit.
So
So
like
you
a
would have
grandmaster has to make you a grandmaster kind of thing.
kind of thing, yeah.
That's
Like I think the
actually
last
fucking
grandmaster
fire.
that I heard, I think the last grandmaster that I heard that got given the grandmaster status was, I believe, Mixmaster Mike. I think he's now Grandmaster Mixmaster Mike.
That's so cool. And then it's like a
Yeah.
hidden fucking
Oh, there you go. Magnanimous just said DJ Scratch recently got it.
so like this is almost like a secret society of DJ shit that only DJs know about. And it's probably
Right.
fire and it's not being jacked by other people because nobody knows about it.
Yeah.
Super dope.
Yeah. Like it's dope that we still have like little things that are still belong to us and like the whole that was the cool thing about hip hop, you know, like hip hop was like something that you know, it was not everybody that knew about it, and you had a certain proudness of being part of it, knowing that it's not everybody that knows about it. So kind of like the same thing.
Nah, I appreciate that. As time goes on, I understand the value of exclusivity and the problem with pop, just in general. But
Yeah,
Grandmaster Flowers, shout out to the original Grandmaster. I don't know who that is,
there you
but
go.
I will Google at some point. I might forget, so one day I'll Google. Or it'll come up and I'll be like, shit, I was supposed to Google that. But, like, it's wild, right? Because, like, every branch of the trees of the hip hop is just deep as fuck.
Yeah.
Um, all I know about Grandmaster Kaz, and this is my only Grandmaster Kaz anecdote, is I fist bumped him in VR. And I met him in VR and we fist bumped. And that was the first VR moment I had worth talking about. It just happened to be Grandmaster Kaz. I don't know who the fuck he is really. I kind of know his
Bro,
significance.
Grandmaster Cass is a fucking hip hop legend, bro.
Again, I know I'm supposed to know more, but like, yo, everybody be kind of wildly not talking about shit before 85. It's like prior to like fucking Run DMC, it wasn't like hip hip with the youth of that, you know. So those are most of the people I talk to. It's like,
Those are the actual people that were doing it for us and making it what it is, what it became. Because, like I said, hip hop was like a secret society back then. Hip hop was played in gay clubs, like you know, it's because the gay people were allowing them to come rock your crowd here. You know, like,
yo, you dropping shit I never heard in my life, my
oh,
guy. This
bro,
whole
trust me,
interview's full of that. I don't know. That's some
bro.
knowledge nugget shit.
Back then in New York, like if you would ask, like yo, like the hip hop world started in fucking gay clubs, man. Like no lie, and any hip hop dude, any hip hop head would tell you confirm that shit right now.
I mean, Willie's here being super excited, and my experience is Willie Scandals is the standard for old man hip hop views. I don't mean that derogatory. I mean it just as an age thing. Like the original founding fathers and whatever he thinks is super dope is absolutely that era. I fucks with you, Willie. You definitely know. He knows it. He's self-aware and he plays
Well,
into it heavy.
like been dropping some shit, and I was like, okay, these guys like there's some real hip hop hits up in this.
Yo, Willie
That's super
Scandals is
dope.
bout it, bout it. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's like I don't know. I was 12 when Eminem popped. Nelly took over the world. DMX. Yeah. I tell you, those
Yeah, I was
three,
never. I was not a
absolutely.
fan of Nelly.
Yo, man,
Uh,
one of my first albums is fucking Nelly's first album.
Country Grammar.
Yeah, bro. I'm like 12 years old.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. Like, I didn't like it because of the sound. Like, to me, it wasn't traditional hip hop. It wasn't that boom bap shit. It was like mainly super commercial. But later on, I catched on what he was actually saying on that song. And I was like, yo, this is gangster as
Yo,
fuck.
I'm going down, down, baby. Yo, street in a Range Rover, street sweeper, baby. Caught ready
Bro,
to
like
let it
what?
go. And you're like,
Like what?
cock
But
ready to
see,
let it
back
go.
then, street sweeper wasn't in my fucking vocabulary. I didn't know what the fuck he
And
was
I
talking
thought,
about.
I literally, because I'm 12, I'm like, okay, there's a street sweeper. You know, like, fuck do I know about that shit?
Yeah, you're thinking it's a fucking broom for the streets?
No,
Yeah.
I swear, back then. I mean, I didn't know what any of it meant. I didn't know what head meant back when I heard EI when I'm like super young. I didn't know what any of the shit meant. Yo, straight up, R.I.P. Sean Price and all of that. And
Bro, Willie.
I got to talk to a lot of people that fucked with Sean Price in person. I never like whatever, but like I've talked to like a lot of people that like know him and how stand up that dude was and the whole camp clique and how fucking like down to earth they are because they rolled
No,
with Team
here you
Hami
go.
and shit.
Another jewel about Bootcamp Click. 1997, we were at the Bootcamp concert in fucking Ottawa. We took pictures with the whole fucking Bootcamp Click. They were fucking doing rollerblading outside of the venue throughout the day before the fucking show, man.
That's wild. But
Crazy.
man, I fucks with.
But yo, hold on. One
He's a
thing I wanted to say.
standard though.
Willie dropped Master Ace on his comment. Bro, I've DJ for Master Ace twice, and I've seen him live probably like 6 or 7 times in my life. Till this day, he's my favorite, most fucking crazy performer I've ever seen on stage. Master Ace, bro.
Yo, y'all toss the football like, this is fire. Yo, this is one of the best chats. Y'all are making this one of the best, like from a chat perspective. This ranks high. Y'all are a good chat, is what I'm
Crazy
saying.
because we're like telling all stories, and you guys know about these stories, man. It's fucking, it's full circle, bro.
No,
Appreciate this shit.
it makes it dope. I appreciate people like DJ Magnanimous and Willie who like are willing to come through and just they want to hear about you and your life because I'm sure that they're catching things they never heard before. And everybody loves that shit. Everybody likes kind of getting to know the people they care about. You know, it's like
Sure.
the whole like give flowers before people die shit. You know. Yo, Willie toured with Master Ace during fucking Scribble Jam. That's a
Bro.
flex still.
DJ Scribbles, man. Fuck, I had his first mixtape too, man, on CD.
Um, but yeah, for real though, like, so you basically then in the early 2010s start to come up with the fucking like club transition then? Like, you're like, I'm good enough now. I got my name. I fucking got my game. I'm ready
Yeah.
to get my pay.
Yeah. So basically, how I started transitioning to clubs is because I started doing actual like, like organized birthday parties with people, and I was like, okay, I'm the DJ, and these are like, they started to be like with a small circle of my friends, but with other people, So then I was starting to like, get more loose of being able to play in public to other people that are not my friends and being able to rock them. So once I was able to do that, I was like, okay, I think I got something here. So then, yeah, I started. Then I was lucky enough too that because I was from Ottawa and Gatineau, I knew a lot of like promoters and stuff like that. So when I started like uh, spreading the word that I started DJing, a lot of people were like, "Oh, word, okay, well, I'll have you," because either they knew already I was into hip hop and they knew already I was like a crazy music fucking lover. So when I was telling them I became a DJ, they was like, "Oh shit!" Like the transition, they saw it already and they understood and they trusted me already. So it was like, so when my first couple of gigs started, they were dope gigs because I had like some serious people in the nightlife that they would trust me right away. So I was able to like get in there, kill it, and be like, okay, this dude is solid from jump. So that's pretty much how it started, man.
It is really useful if people think you're good at what you do.
Right, but you also got to deliver, obviously, right? So
Well, I mean,
once
that's what I
that's
meant. Like, once you delivered, then people think you're really good at what you do. And then
exactly.
there's like less doubt of it, especially if they've seen you back in the day or they heard of you before.
That, and what was cool too is that for Ottawa or for that time that I was coming up, I guess it's not like the old school parties were coming back and were as popular as there is now, but it was like the beginning of it. So there was a demand for that old school music sound, and that's what I was, because I was like, yo, I'm a, you know, even then I was like super stubborn when I started DJing. I was like, yo, I don't give a fuck about this new music. I'm only spinning that real shit, that real hip hop shit. But that also changed as I started playing in clubs, because then I learned, no, that real hip hop shit doesn't work in clubs. You need to be having the girls dancing on the fucking dance floor if you want your night to be a good night at a club and you want to be hired again at that club. So then I started adjusting different things. I
Gosh,
was
it's
like, oh shit,
amazing what the idea of making women dance will do to a person's music
bro,
career.
it's crazy. Because put it this way, the guys are not bringing the girls to the dance floor to dance. It's the fucking girls.
Beat junkies or executioners?
Ah, shit. Beat junkies for the long run. Executioners at the very beginning were like fucking just crazy, but all of them in general. But shit, man, that's a crazy question. I never actually thought about
I
that.
know
But
it. I think I know what executioners are because, if I'm not mistaken, they did some shit with Mike Shinoda.
shouts to Rob
Um,
Swift.
but I don't know what a beat junkies is.
Yo, Willie, anytime, bro. I'll come through.
But like, yeah, that's fair.
So yeah, man, I had to do some adjustments because, like I said, I was very stubborn at the beginning when I started DJing. I was like, yo, I'm playing that hardcore hip hop shit, and that's it. That's all. But yo, nobody wants a fucking full night at a club of raw hip hop shit. Hells no.
And
People
when
will
it
start
come
walking away.
and when it comes to like the event side of things, as you pointed out, um, ladies are valuable assets to a successful party situation, and that really does
Of course.
influence a lot of things. Like at one point, I had a like my girlfriend. My girlfriend didn't necessarily like all my music, so I had to like figure out why. And then I learned a lot about like head watching women's head bop and see what they react to. And you start to go, oh, say word. Maybe a lot of my judgment calls of an artist has been to impress my male peers more than it has been about actually selling fucking records to people. I only got that like epiphany recently, but like I like get it though, cause like I don't know, a bunch of old dudes ain't be buying shit like they claim to be.
Sure, but yeah, man, that once I made that realization, I was like, yo, okay, my whole style changed, but I was able to still, like, keep my essence and be true to
Mm.
myself and be able to still please a certain type of crowd at the fucking club.
Those are two good questions for specificity, whatever. Do you mean old underground hip hop in terms of what you were sticking to your guns with?
Yeah, exactly. Obviously. So I was, when I started, I was strictly doing my underground hip hop shit. I was fucking playing the OGCs, the fucking Wu Tangs, the Mob Deeps, all that shit. But yeah, it's cool for maybe an hour tops. But then you got to switch it up. You got to play some R&B. You got to play some reggae. You got to play some dance hall. You got to go everywhere. Especially with the '90s music, you have a pool of all different genres that was all super good. So, and obviously that made me a better DJ, obviously. But yeah.
That's fire. And so Ismail's asking a great question that I'm very curious to know your opinion on. What's the ultimate club song? And I want to double that with wedding song. So club song
Depends on
and
the
the wedding
era.
song.
It depends on the era. Like, oh man, like I don't know. It I kind of hate these questions because it's like it's too vague.
Okay.
Because
So
it could
what's the
change.
ultimate club song
It could change,
for
but it
like
could
old
change from
people?
day to day. It would depend on the vibe of that particular energy of the people that are there. You know.
I think Hey Ya is a fucking banger, but I could see how that might not work with grandma.
There you go. Like fucking Journey. is an amazing
But
song
Journey
for
is,
fucking weddings.
bro, every time. I don't even care what anyone
Exactly. So
says.
that's what I'm saying. So
Don't
it depends
stop
also on your crowd.
believing.
Depends also on your crowd. Like, you know, I played weddings where Pony was the fucking, you know, hit of the night and everybody went wow with it. I've done parties where fucking Gangster's Paradise was the one.
I can
I've
see
done
how that
parties where,
works,
you
though.
know, yeah, it's crazy. It to me it changes all the time. Like Anonymous with fucking wolves. Yeah, play that at a wedding, buddy. Let me
Yo, I bet McNabb is like, bro, let me tell you about. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna get a lot of control over the soundtrack at whatever wedding I may have in the future.
Yo, who was my favorite skater in Elmer? Goddamn, yo, Elmer had some crazy skaters though, man. Shit, big up the skater scene back then. That was so dope too. In Elmer, like the skaters and the rappers would hang out with each other because we all used to listen to rap together. That was fucking crazy. Shouts to fucking Elmer skaters, yo. I can't name you one, bro, but fuck. I
I
remember my
mean,
boy Simon Garceau was dope. He did a couple competitions, but there was that kid there that went to BC too. What's his name? From Elmer. He went to BC to do some competitions. Yo, Pat Martel was pretty crazy
yo,
too on the
shout out
fucking.
Feld 350, who I'm not even sure who that is, with a rate of 3. Shout out. Oh, shout out Udra Nightshade. You made that happen, I bet. Say fucking
Welcome,
word.
welcome,
Yo, we
welcome,
learning some
Raiders.
mad history right now with fucking Easy. Y'all gotta know. This man's, in case whatever, this man's was rapping in the 90s up in fucking Canada, actually doing the shits proper. Fucking has basically been in the game, maybe a little off time in the middle since active DJ in the scene. You can follow him on Twitch and shit. Hold on, I'm gonna do a links thing. I even made a fucking macro so
Yeah.
that my life could do it easier. Boom. Y'all can catch him do his shit. Follow him. You have to subscribe to watch his old videos I learned today. So subscribe to him and catch his old shit. If you don't even believe, give him money and crap. Um, yeah, that's cool. Your ultimate club song is Rumors by the Atomic Social Club. I don't even know what song that is. So
Neither do I, bro. Wilson is rumors by
Yo, Lindella, Florida. He's not in Florida, and he's just on
Romy
a.
like. Sorry, I don't know what that is.
I appreciate you, Lindell. I mean, we all gonna have to check that out after. I'm certain of that because it's
I
the
played weddings
ultimate
where
club
like you
song.
know I played weddings where I did like some alternative like sets, like fucking played like some Nirvana and some Offspring, some Green Day and shit.
Yo,
I was like
actually, that
fucking
sounds like a
like
lit ass wedding fucking
oh
playlist for
hell yeah,
me.
hell yeah.
Yo, I want Offspring. That's great. I like.
I'm
Yo,
a
they dropped a new
bro,
album this year.
bro. No, get the fuck out of here for real.
Yeah, and it has like a
I didn't even
cover.
know there was
It
new
has a
music.
dude. They covered "Gone Away." I don't know how else to put it, but they covered their own song, and now it's like this soft ballad version of "Gone Away," like an old man lamenting. And I'm like, say word, I gotta bump this Offspring album.
I have to look into that. I had no idea they were still doing
Me
music.
fucking neither, dude. 20.
Yo, bro, like me, like fucking self esteem, bro, was one of like the songs
Ah,
like to me, like it hits like not only
ah.
because of the song, but it has like a sentimental value for me because at that time I hooked up with one of like the flyest chicks in fucking in AY back then, and I was and that particular song was playing when we started making out. So like, yo, this song will forever be the song of my life.
I love that song to death. I think they're like an incredibly amazing thing in music where they even have party jams. Like they got dancing shit. Like they
Yeah.
really understood music enough to make sure that girls would come to at least
Well, yeah.
5 of
Well,
their tracks and album.
they evolved into like the machine of what it was because they started out super rebel or whatever, but then eventually when what was the that album with America and the come out not come out and play, but
No, Americana is the one with
yeah,
fucking Pretty Fly.
there you go. With that one, they were able to like do music for the fucking the charts and still be able to like bring
Fan.
their spring type of sound.
I mean, yo, but even like back in the early '90s, when you go back, you can still see, yo, this would have been like fun, dancey, like upbeat music to come to compared to other shit where like they were tapping into some shit in '93 that they evolved in. Yo, but from what I heard of the new album, it's got some edge to it. It's not just soft shit, so I'm like really stoked that it exists, and I
Really,
never
yeah.
got to
Okay.
listening to it because you know
Definitely look
sometimes
into
how
it.
it
I had
goes.
no idea.
But yeah, a lot of old bands be coming back. I think everybody had a year and a half to go do things.
Um, I mean, like growing up, I was like the biggest, probably the biggest Guns N' Roses fan growing up in the
Mm,
'90s. It
my,
was like, it was to a point where I had to hide it from my friends because we were all into hip hop, but I was still listening to like, that other type of music too. Because when I would come home, my sister would be blasting it and whatever. So, but yeah,
I,
man, Guns N' Roses till I die, bro.
I was like, we had a weird relationship with Guns N' Roses because my dad was at the Forum show with the Riot. So
Not the Forum, the
wherever it
that
was,
Olympic Stadium,
wherever the fuck it was, um,
Olympic Stadium.
yeah, my dad was there. Shout out for the host. But like I don't know. I guess something about Axl Rose being a dick after making them do the wave for 3 hours. Yo, I heard that story a lot growing up. Like my dad held a fucking grudge. Like he paid his good money to be there and shit. And like, trust
I
my parents ain't got money, so like this is actually like one of the shows they went to, kind of thing, right? And so like, then they
it
there.
was
He told me they did the wave for 3 hours, bro. I'm like, what? Because you got to keep in mind, there's no cell phones, there's no
yeah.
internet. You're just there waiting for Axl Rose to be like done his partying or whatever the fuck he was doing to
Read
come
I
out,
read
do
I
three
read
songs and dip. He's like,
I
he
read
didn't even do
Slash's
any of my
book.
bangers.
I read Slash's book, and he explains that part of what happened there, and I was like, yo, wow, man.
What
Yeah,
happened?
yeah, it was Axel being his regular fucking bitch, man.
I mean, so after that, my dad, like, he loved it, but like, it hurt him. It was like,
He didn't go back to the makeup concert that he did a few years ago at the
nah,
Bell Center.
nah. My dad basically like, although they were like, my aunt was with them, thank goodness, so they dipped out before shit hit the fan. Like my aunt was like, nah,
Yeah,
we gotta
sure.
go like now. And but like, it's just wild, you know. But yeah, I fucks with Guns N' Roses. I know for a fact that like, throw on a Sweet Child of Mine if you just blind playing a track, people
Even that,
fucks with
me,
that
me with
shit.
the B sides or the album cuts, like fucking Mr. Brownstone, or like fucking uh, Gotta Take It Easy, like, yeah, bro.
Yo,
Gunplay.
we used to have a fucking concert tape with like fucking one of their tours, and we used to
Oh,
watch that shit.
I have like I think like
Or we
four
rented it from
or five
Blockbuster.
DVDs,
I can't remember because
4 or 5
Blockbuster used to
DVDs.
have like those concert fucking tapes you could rent and shit.
It was probably the Use Your Illusion tour that they did in France. If
Mm.
I'm not mistaken, it's the one where Slash has a Pepe Le Pew T-shirt as he's fucking rocking the guitar.
I don't remember that level of detail to be honest with you. I was a kid, but I do remember that tape and that like my dad was really into honestly that whole vibe of shit. His best friend was a guitarist that I don't know if it was Guns N' Roses, but it was like one of the bands that was either opening for it or it was like them. They needed a guitarist, and the dude, they just told him he had to be sober when he's performing. This is my dad's friend who unfortunately passed from an overdose at some point. Told
Shit.
him you just have to be sober for the show. We don't care after. And he was just like, nah, fuck it. I'm not taking the gig. And I'm like, show, say a
Man,
word. Like, like, man, this is wild to think of like how that world could end up being a little bit. I don't know. That's just what you made me think of. It's not really related to much, but yeah, Guns N'
no, no,
Roses is wildly like an interesting vibe.
fuck yeah. And the worst thing is that apparently there's so much footage. There's so much footage. They were one of the first bands that had a camera guy following them everywhere.
Say
But
word.
Axl Rose will not release the tapes.
Yeah, cause he's
Axl
fucking
Rose has
smart.
all of it. He has all of this.
See, all the groupies, all the drugs, all the
Yo,
hotel wreckage, the rock
oh,
star prima donna shit.
trust me. In almost every part of like where there was huge chaos happening in Slash's book, he would say that the camera guy has the footage. He would like say, "Yo, there is footage of this." Like as he's telling these stories, he's saying he's stopping. He's saying there is footage of this. You just got to see Axel.
That's wild, man. And Axel's not gonna release that footage. Let's say what.
Fuck no. Unless there's a fucking huge check beat like that shit.
Or, I mean, that's gonna be like one of those shits where it's like in the darkness of how this is about to go. When he passes and that shit becomes kind of more public, it's gonna be fucking wild.
Either that or yeah, but he might also not want to release them because there's probably some fucked up shit in those things.
I'm saying once you ain't there, no more shit gonna happen. Leaks be the thing,
Yeah.
my guy. Ain't nothing getting destroyed in this era like that. Like that. Nah, right price is gonna come up. This state's gonna sell it for the right amount. Fucking people would throw a fucking crazy money at the
Oh
exclusivity of some
hell
shit like that. Like, nah, man, how you gonna like turn it? There is a price on shit like that. Is all I'm
yeah.
saying.
Like I don't even know if it wouldn't be released by Axel. I don't even know if I would want to see it.
I'm sorry, but like I want to admit I'm a better person than that. But sometimes I like to watch the gluttonous shit rock stars do when I can find footage of it because it's fucking like there's that story of Jonathan Davis from that album when they're like really on fucking coke and he's recording vocals while somebody who's unnamed that's a celebrity at the time with them, one of the rock stars, is getting head in front of him while he's fucking everybody. And I'm like, bro, I kind of want to see some of this footage. Like, I don't give a fuck. I just want to. I'm not in rooms like that. I don't even think if I make it in music, people are inviting me to rooms like that. So, like, it's just not going to be my life. I kind of want to live vicariously through some shit I'm not supposed to be looking at. Like, I got limits on that sensibility, but this type of shit's just fucking, I couldn't resist, bro.
Yeah. It's like when I found out that so on Guns N' Roses' first album, there's a song called "My Michelle," and there's a part on the song where you hear like a girl moaning, and apparently it happened in real life, and it was Axel that was moaning his fucking girl in the fucking studio session, and the mic was on.
That's like that Biggie one, no?
Yeah, well, I don't know. The Biggie one was definitely staged.
Okay. Or one of them, I think. That's cool if it's when it's real like that. That's some fucking
Yeah,
wild shit. Like,
it's real for sure. But no, that Biggie skit where he's fucking the two bitches, that's definitely staged.
mm, I don't know. I think I saw some. Sometimes you see some shit on Genius, and sometimes you just want it to be true.
Yo, of course, there's a bunch of things like that you just want it to be true, but it's
So
like fucking like a couple days ago, I found out that evidence from Dilated People produced Kanye's Last Call from his first album. You know, Last Call, the last song of the fucking song, Tears to the Rock. And
yeah,
I'm asking, yo, it's produced by evidence from fucking Dilated Peoples.
that's wild. See,
Crazy. That blew my mind. That fucked me up like this week. Like literally. It blew my
I
mind.
I felt that way a lot of Kanye West produced that over the course of my life. Actually, when you realize the vastness of Ye, because now he goes by Ye. Everyone, I don't know if y'all watched that Drink Champs, but I watched that whole Drink Champs.
First.
I felt like this is some hip hop cultural shit one should not miss. Bigger than any of the fucking individual
I'm just a bit
versuses.
a bit pissed of how he turned himself against Talib Kweli, but whatever. And also
Okay, here's the thing
saying
about that. I know two people this week that Talib Kweli added and argued with. Okay, I know two people in my life this week that he added, and then he's literally doing shit like screenshotting people and like putting them on blast in ways that are just like he's just my guy. Like it's like I don't wanna feel this way, but you just go on you can get lost on his Instagram for an hour. Like I thought if I was a different kind of creator, I'd already have a series called Reading Talib Kweli's Instagram. Okay, like I don't think you know how bad it is to be on the receiving end of a Talib Kweli rant for no reason when he feels a way about some shit. Because I watched a lot of random people on the internet take a lot of random shit A lot of words that I would not like. I'm just like, shh. So I'm not saying he's wrong or right. I'm saying he be wilding out on regulars, and it's weird because these
Yeah.
people that I know, they ain't like anybody that you should be like responding to if you're Talib fucking Kweli.
Well, it's just that he decides to take the time to respond to some, you know, some maybe like I'm even thinking that people that sometimes that he responds to are beyond haters. Like they're just people. They're trolls,
Nah,
literally.
man, I'm
And he
saying,
wasted time doing
yeah,
that
some
shit.
of the people troll him, but I watched him turn on people who asked. Anyway, I
Yeah.
spent. This is like I did this week, right? Because when you go, did dude just say Talib Kweli's calling him a racist? And then you go on the rabbit hole. That happened to me earlier this week, and I had to admit, I could see how
Yeah, no,
Ye
he's been
may
on a
end up.
rampage.
I could see how like he may actually have pissed off Kanye West
How?
just on being himself and Ye being himself, and that turned into a
Like
situation.
because your boy's telling you, "Yo, come back to us." You would get pissed because of that to against Talib. Your boy's just telling you, "Come back to us." Okay, your boy's probably not understanding you where you at mentally, but the fact that he's just telling you to come home,
Yo, Kanye
there's
be
nothing
on
wrong
some
with
out
that.
there shit. I could see why Kanye
For
would not
sure.
like that. If you like listen to Kanye though, you can be like, I
Bro,
could see
like,
why Kanye
yo,
don't like that.
Talib Kweli brought you on your first fucking tour. Just because of that, you should shut the fuck up and not say anything against this man. He put you on your you put Talib on one of your not the biggest single of College Dropout, but one of like the best rapping singles of fucking of College Dropout, and you still say this shit like fuck that. It's super whack. And then going out and saying that, oh, to the whole backpack community, I'm sorry. I just used y'all to get where I'm at. Like wow, like
He was.
really, dude, you're being this type of asshole right now. Like wow.
I mean, I'm gonna just throw it out there. They did make. He didn't have to take the blood. He didn't have to drink per se. Yeah, he actually did say that shit. Everything he's saying is actual, factual. What was said.
Yeah, what I just said, he literally said word per word.
Nah, he's not
Right.
making any of this up. Personally, I didn't feel the same level of reaction to it because I fucks with Kanye's vision, and I kind of get. I can
Yo,
empathize. Hold on, I can
listen,
empathize
I
with
understand. I
how.
understand. Kanye. I'm a fan. I'm a Kanye fan. Like, but I at some point a couple years ago, I decided to split the man from being the man that he is and being the music producer that he is.
I
And now,
understand.
like, I did that shit a couple years ago. So whatever he said, like on Drink Champs, like,
So like Kanye
but
West,
now it's sticking a little bit. I'm like, fuck, this is so
I even read an
like it's giving
article
me
on that shit.
a
Like, because I care about this. It's so interesting to me. This is a big dramatic thing, and the way he put the backpacker, I'm like, because I reviewed his first album, right? And I don't know shit all unless I reviewed that album, and it's not that backpacker at all. In a like 2020 like hindsight of who he is, it just kind of feels that way because he doesn't sound like the streets exactly. But outside of like the flexing, it's kind of more on the other side in my opinion, just on like the idea of college. And then I had his third project. I bought that one in like the physical realms back in the day, and I always felt it was just like this pop experience, right? Like never felt that was in backpack, you know. So it's like to me that was my impression, and then everything post that I know it was just pretty much when I got heard Kanye was all his singles for like the next 15 years until like way later on in life. So like to me, I never saw him like a backpacker ever. I
No,
understand.
I never saw him as a backpacker either. But to me, so here's how I saw Kanye West coming into the game. I was seeing him being the one responsible to bridge in the gap between backpackers and that commercial sound. So he was able to get that commercial sound, but having dope ass fucking backpack rappers or underground rappers on these mainstream records.
Okay,
That's what it was his job, and that's what he was doing back then.
but like
You
I
know,
mean,
like yo, hearing Talib on a fucking billboard, fucking hearing Common on the well, not Common per se, but whatever, like and then seeing like Rhyme Fest, and then seeing Consequence shining through that album and all that shit, and then you're telling like your first album, the first album that made you, you're turning your back on them and saying fuck y'all. I just used you to get where I'm at.
I
Like,
think
come on.
I
It's like
okay,
spitting.
but
It's
he's kind of
disrespectful to hip
he's also drunk
disrespectful
at
to
this
hip hop,
point.
bro.
It's a little like
Who cares? It's disrespectful
I
to
mean,
hip hop.
it's kind of it's a
You're
thing that
spitting. You're
keeps
spitting.
like
Like
Nori
fuck.
like Nori clearly engineers this, right? Like this is what they do,
Just
right?
there for the clicks. Nori's happy of whatever controversial shit is coming out of
I mean,
Kanye's
Ismail
mouth.
Mago being drunk is not an excuse, but from what I understand, and if you listen to Donda, Kanye ain't really been drinking a lot, and I've had several moments in my life where I've gotten too drunk and the words that came out of my mouth I can't remember, right? So we don't know how drunk he was, how fucked up he was. I understand what he was
I don't think
to me.
that's an excuse. I don't
It's
think
not an
like I
excuse,
you know
but
exactly.
they were
I
egging
think
him on to talk his shit while he was drunk. I'm not saying it's an excuse, but I'm saying in the full context, people can't be like that, you know? Now, like, I'm saying in 2021, Kanye be on this next level shit, and I think his whole life lately is a bunch of people trying to tell him how to live. I don't know about y'all, but I wouldn't like everybody if people kept telling me how to live. And that's the one thing about him that I can empathize with a little bit. Because
sometimes you're so blinded by your own visions that you're not seeing the how
maybe,
others are seeing
but
or whatever. And
maybe other
obviously,
people
you're on your
aren't
own.
really like,
You
but
have to
none
pay
of
attention.
us. Here's the thing, man. I don't know that many billionaires. And that's just the end of that. Because, like, he's not even on our planet anymore. He's kind of in another, like, we don't know billionaire shit. He's a billionaire now. Like,
Okay.
and I know that, like, changes whatever.
And
And it
he asked
into,
like 4 years ago, he asked Zuckerberg for some money.
but
But
all
yet,
of that was, like, part of his, like, dealing with shit. I don't know. Like, I'm not really here to make excuses for
now
him.
you're doing shit. Now you're saying shit because you
But
know it's gonna cause controversy, and that's fucking whack. This ain't the
I
WWF.
know a lot of people who feel that way. No, I hear you. But I know a lot of people who feel that way about Talib Kweli though. So like, it's just like I get where you're coming from, but he is kind
Yeah,
of.
like listen, like I'm like
And I'm not trying
I'm
to say I'm right
but
here. I love your discussion. I love the way you're defending this shit because it's super interesting to hear. Right? I just want the
it's
people out
just
there
that
to know.
you're turning your back on the machine that made you, and I find that's whack and that's backstabbing. That's like it's totally it's fake. You've been a fraud all this time. You know exactly what you wanted to do, and this is what you're telling you're not avoiding, but you're fuck, I thought I lost my word. You're admitting what you did, and you're admitting that you were a fraud. You used
Mm.
the backpack platform to get where you were because you knew that that's what was gonna work.
I
It's
appreciate
fucking
and I appreciate this because like I know it's your. I don't know if you can hear me when you're getting your beer or not.
oh, I do. You're on the
Okay, cool,
speakers on
cool.
my house. You can
So like,
definitely hear
and
me.
I appreciate where you're coming from, right? Because like this is totally the culture that you grew up in, right? In a way that it's not the culture I grew up in. I'm kind of like guest in the house type shit, and I know it. You know, it's just kind of what it is. But I hear where you're coming from a sense where it almost feels like Kanye is willing to come at your community, whereas
Here you go.
I'm a little
So
bit like already on the outside, so I don't really feel that side of it. And I'm being real with you. I don't feel that when I hear this shit, but maybe I should. But like, it's interesting
but
to
it's probably because
understand where
you
you're
didn't
coming
see
from.
it's probably because you didn't see Kanye's process when he started. And again, you just said it because I feel some type of way because he targeted or he started or he aimed to people like me pretty much to in order to like him. Because at first I didn't like not that I didn't like Kanye, but I was super skeptical of Kanye because there was so much buzz around it. I was like, yo, fuck this shit. It's like it's media, it's the machine or whatever. And then my real dudes, my real friends were like, yo, you gotta listen to that shit. You gotta listen to and then that hit 'em high song, get 'em high song with Talib and fucking Common. That's the song that I was like, okay, Kanye is fucking dope. But now you come here 10 years after and you tell me that you were faking it and you only did that shit to get to another stage. Fuck you, bro. Like you're spitting in my face. You're literally spitting in my face.
Yeah, I can see that, and honestly, I appreciate you sharing that. Again, like I don't. He's
But
not
it's the
spitting
same
in
way
my
that
face,
all the
and you
all
know,
like
like so I don't feel
we
it.
were all happy. we were all happy he was able to bridge or bring dilated peoples to the level that they were. Oh shit, they were able to hit their first Billboard. Fucking Talib was able to do get by and be fucking Billboard artist. Common too, like super dope. Fucking Dead Prez and everything. Like, Kanye put these people on spots where they were able to make a fucking career out of it. And now you're telling us that you fucking fake that shit? Come on, bro. It's whack.
Yeah, I understand. And I really, again, I don't know. Like, it's definitely an interesting way to look at it. The other hand of it is, I don't know what the fuck it feels like to be a guy with $5 billion trying to build communes to save the world and shit. So it's definitely, like, I'm definitely going to agree with he possibly might not have needed to say that shit. Fair enough. I
No,
appreciate that.
exactly. Like, even if you did it, you should have just shut the fuck up about it.
Yeah, I mean, like, or at
Like, you're
least he was definitely in I'm feeling myself in this moment. I'm gonna say some shit I kind of wanted to say, blah blah blue bleep. He was a little, one too many type vibe, and so I hear you. And again, I did not understand fully your passion on the subject as we started this, and but same thing, man. For his personal path, it's fucking wild and it's wild to see that guy is where he is. And I do think
yeah,
Donda's a fucking incredible musical sonic experience where cut out the Kanye guy, the fucking everything, even the rollout is wild to me. Like,
sure. But even then, like, I heard it maybe 2 or 3 times that same weekend. I haven't played it since. There's nothing that wants to make me and go back to it and be like, yo, first of all, I am a Christian dude. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus, whatever. But I'm not that kind of dude to be hearing songs that fucking tell me I love Jesus throughout the fucking 4 minutes and or 5 minutes of a song.
mm,
I'm not trying to hear a gospel album. I like to hear shit about fucking drug dealing, fucking writing dope beats, fucking pimping and shit, and all that fucking hip hop shit. Don't fucking
no, I hear you with that. I'm just like, for me, it's like, I don't really look at it from that lens at all anymore. Even with myself, I just make music. It sounds like what it sounds like, right? And that's where I kind of got to with my shit. So when I heard the album, I'm like, I'm not in the right state of mind for this project. Watch me the next time I'm depressed. That might be like a real pick me up.
I hear that, but at the same, well, yeah, no, I hear that it could hit you at when you're at some. That's what music does, You
So like, I definitely, cause when I was in New York, my man's played Donda a lot when he was having his Kanye days, and Kanye days are very frequent in my man's life, and it was his whip. If you know anything about the whips, you ain't fucking controlling the music if you're not driving.
of course.
Yo, what up, Critical? But like, so I heard Donda a lot, and I'm not gonna say I heard the whole album, but the tracks I heard, the more I listened to them, and believe me, 6, 7, easy. But you're also vibing in New York. It was a vibe, and I'm like, nah, this shit has an element to it. You know what it is? It doesn't sound like a lot that I ever really heard before. And I'm not saying that other shit like that doesn't exist, but after 4.5 years of music reviews and shit, that shit impresses me much.
I mean, okay, fine, but then don't be calling or don't be saying that the project is a full rap album because it's not.
I definitely would say it's a sonic experience with all kinds of genres
Yeah,
interlaced
it's
within inside of it
experimental
and shit.
music. It's not rap.
I don't know, man. I don't know how to define
Traditional.
that. It's not traditional hip hop, but like, I don't make traditional hip hop either. So, but I get grouped into hip hop because it's just the virtue of life. So it's like respect the cultures and shit, and I'm down with that. But sometimes when it gets to like the categorization and shit, it's complicated in my opinion. It's like, especially when you're trying to do new shit with it.
Right, but I mean, you're not reinventing the wheel right here. You're not reinventing a sound. You're just including all these like musical geniuses, and you're just having them do some melodic shit or whatnot. It's nothing groundbreaking.
I don't know. I mean, like, I get where you're coming from. I feel like it's pretty dope, but I also feel like it's gonna be
I'm not saying it's whack. I'm
like,
like,
here's the thing. I think that album is gonna hold up in 10 years
can't,
in
can't
a
shove it
way.
to me and say that this is a rap album and this is what's. what represents rap or hip hop at this very time. Hell's no. To me, no.
It doesn't
Sorry.
to you, but it totally does to the young people. And that's the thing, is that the young people maybe have a lot of
You're
sway in
saying the
this.
young people are all into the Jesus chants and all that shit.
I
I
think
love Jesus
people
and I love
like,
God.
yo, they was
I,
playing
I highly
Kanye
doubt
on
it.
Hot 97. And Hot 97,
That's payola, bro. That's
that's fair.
they need to be playing that shit. They have to play that shit.
I'm
It's their
not gonna
job to
dispute what that is, but
get
I'm
paid
saying,
to play
I
that shit.
mean, the
But
thing is, there's a
come
lot
on,
of the
bro.
drill, there's a lot of the whatevers, but
Okay, hold on. Let
if
me ask this for the
if you
chat
go
then.
like listen
Chat,
to how
chat
much
world. How
Pop
many
Smoke,
times have you listened to Donda since it came out?
that's a good question.
Or when's the last time you listened to Donda since it came out?
However, have you heard how much melody was in Pop Smoke, my guy? Have you heard?
Okay, that Pop Smoke that was done after he passed away is not good. Exactly.
No,
They
I'm
tried to
talking
make
the
that shit
early.
too much
No,
melodic.
no, no.
But
I'm talking even his early shit. I was listening to the Woo a lot because I didn't listen to Pop Smoke, and then he was fucking all over New York. And I know for a fact young people fucks with him. And nah, dude, there was like melodies and shit all over it. I'm gonna say that yeah, I do think that to a degree, like Young Baby is really well respected and liked by young people. Not Lil Da Baby, but Lil Baby, not the baby.
yeah,
You know, right?
okay, but
So,
that's okay. That I understand. That's what they're into. Those kids are into that fucking
but when
that
you
trap
listen
shit.
to
That
like
you know that's
the
it. It's at that level and that's it.
and I'm not saying I fully understand what the little ones be into. Oh, yo, the baby's fire though. The baby's like, I mean, I like the baby's
The
cadences a lot.
baby's another stupid idiot that's going downfall right now, especially what he's doing with his girlfriend right now or with his ex girlfriend.
I don't know about the ex girlfriend thing. I know that the foul words that he used is gonna do fucking nothing to his career. He's gonna get
Okay,
cold past that, no
that
problem.
was a bit past right now. In the
I don't
past
know what's
couple of
happening.
days, he kicked out his baby moms from his crib and he fucking filmed it.
Oh,
And
that's
now he's calling his baby moms that she was a side chick and all that shit. While all along she has videos of him saying, "I love you, yo, you're my girl."
the
No, no, no,
baby's
no.
wild. He's like loving hip hop. Pick me up,
I
please.
feel like all these people do all these shit just for fucking attention,
They
and
do.
it's sad. It's
It's
sad.
not good, but
It's sad.
I mean, I don't know if the baby's soft as newborn shit. He literally shot a guy in a Walmart and killed him. I would argue the baby has in fact proven that he's willing to pull a trigger on a dude if it comes down to it. I don't
That
know if I
doesn't
go.
mean nothing. Bro.
I'm soft as newborn shit isn't willing to pull a gun on somebody in a Walmart broad day. Okay, I'm gonna say I'm soft as newborn shit by comparison. Musically, nah, he makes turn up music. Like, you know,
Anyway,
I'm not like I did an album review for the guy, and I'm kind of into that like swing sound of like the southern things, the more repetitious shit. Like I'm just kind of into the vibe of that, regardless of hip hop, and I feel like he taps into that like cadences and shit of like that. Like I just fuck with it. I really enjoy the sound of that.
he's made some shit that I was like, okay, super dope. Like, yo, that freestyle he did at LA Leakers a couple years ago, that was super ultra fire.
He's got
I was like,
tracks.
okay. Like for sure, like the baby before he was the baby, or before I knew about the baby and I heard of his freestyles. I was like, yo, this is the new guy that's gonna come out. And then he came out the way he did. I was
I
like,
love the Southern sound, man. But here's the thing: I really like shit like those deep fucking Memphis tapes where they just fucking jack each other's bars and repeat it for like 4 minutes. I fucks with that shit though. Like I find that enjoyable AF to listen to because
it's like trolling on the track.
yeah, but it's dope, man. It's like it's good.
It's not dope. What's dope about it?
The vibe that you get. Okay, so I'm a vibe person when it comes to music in some ways because as an artist, I empathize with everything you're saying. As a person who occasionally likes to dibble and dabble with intoxicating and shit, bro, when you kind of like on some edibles, maybe a little whatever, you kind of fade it out there, and you throwing on some wobble, 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 swabble, swabble, hobble, ho, and you just kind of out there,
Like you're making
headphones
you're
fucking
making
on,
when we used to hear like fucking like the
like
chop and screw shit.
yeah. But to be fair, it's kind of in that vein of shit. It really does tap into that. Like, I'm not saying it's the same, but that shit like really grow on me, and I really like. Yo, I'm not saying it's my everyday, but on certain vibes though, like yo, it slaps heavy. And when you really got to sit there and listen to it for a couple hours because somebody makes you do it on a fucking album review, you like appreciate it different. And then I found myself being like, now when it comes on at a party, oh my fucking god, dude, it's like literally one of my favorite sounds to listen to if I'm at a party is like 93 deep southern Memphis mixtape shit. Okay, like I can't say it's like the best music, but I'm saying there are times in my life and environments where I don't want anything else but that shit because it's fire to me. And that's the thing about music though. So it's like, yo, Wheel on the Bus goes round and round with the right remix will be a banger. And that's the thing, is some of my favorite songs. Bro, I got a feeling Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I don't even give a shit, bro. It's still one of my favorite songs of all time. The fuck out of here, okay? Y'all hated on Rebecca Black for that shit, but Will I Am did it, and it's a number one song ever.
Yo, I need to use the washer, man. I'll be right back if you don't mind.
Welcome back. What is that comment? I think it's hilarious. Both of y'all had to pee and were looking for stuff last second. I'm like, yeah,
funny.
that's what it is sometimes. I didn't do my normal pee routine ahead of time because I'm testing out new go live times, and
The best shit are unexpected, right? Let's go.
Yo, 17 people here. On the real, this is my best stream in like a long time. So shout out all of y'all for real. I appreciate every
Big up
last
everybody
one
on
of
the
you.
chat, yo.
This
Big up
is
the Twitch
super
people.
fucking lady. It makes me want to just fucking get rowdier. But that's dope.
Are you
stuff.
drinking? Drinking
Nah,
anything?
I don't
With
drink.
alcohol?
Oh, well, I drink.
Don't?
Okay, I say I don't drink, but I got drunk for 3 days in a row in New York, and that wrecked me
Oh,
for
that's
like
cool.
a week.
Well,
But I mean, you're
whatever,
in New
yo. You're
York.
allowed not to drink, man. I usually always take a break
Nah, but
between
I really
January and
just
March.
I don't drink a lot, but like, so it was my birthday, so we drank. Then the next day we're in the pub. I'm like, okay, we're in a fucking pub in the Bronx. How often you in a pub in the Bronx? You gotta fucking drink. And then the other day we weren't really gonna drink, but Poison Pen fucking walks into the bar at 12:30 in the fucking morning. So now we're drinking and smoking blunts with Poison Pen in a bar at like all until we left at like 3 in the morning. And again, went in fucking bed stuy. Fucking do your thing.
But stop.
But like, yeah, so I'm mostly a smoker. So I be chain smoking joints a lot on these interviews. So at this point, I am farther into it a little bit though. I smoked some shatter right before this one, so I was a little loosier goosier than I normally am.
I can't smoke. Not that I can't, but I don't smoke in the house, so
mm,
I'm noticing.
I just I don't know if I'm supposed to, but I just like I'm in my lab with my girl and whatnot, but. Part of the live was this realization if I'm gonna migrate to Twitch, cause yo, my whole like first like 3-4 years of doing it, even I didn't smoke on cam because it was illegal, and like corporate jobs, so you don't really want to be fucking smoking blunts and shit, and in such an obvious way while publicly having a job and shit. Then it got legal, and we moved to streaming, and I could tell that in long interviews that lengthy not like fucking smoking weed made me shittier by the end of it. Bro, the second I started smoking weed on cam, I feel like saw the fucking problem, and all of my like entire situation with it got significantly more improved. I mean, I don't know if that's a good thing, but it's a factual thing for me, and y'all shouldn't try it if you can't handle smoking copious amounts of pot. It might not be for you.
Yeah. No. It always depends on people. It's different circumstances for everybody, right? It's like me when like I drink on stream because I definitely want to drink on stream, but it's because I know also that at some point that alcohol is gonna like enhance what the fuck I'm doing. So
See, I don't know if it like enhances. Well, it enhances me as an interviewer slash a fucking podcaster because I give a shit about letting you finish your sentences.
Mhm.
And sober me might not. Okay, I'm 34.
Yeah,
I fucking learned how to do it. Corporate land
you're
teaches
impatient.
you.
You're impatient when you're sober.
I used to be king at
Yes, probably
like
when you're on something, you're actually vibing instead of like being critiqued about your own show or whatnot. Maybe
mm.
I don't know.
No, it's not about now. I'm talking just up in my life, but it's more like I guess it's just I'm not as willing, or I say was, because I know for a fact that at this juncture in my life, weed isn't required. However, I definitely am more willing to sit in a chair for multiple hours on an end and talk to strangers on repeat stoned. Because it's kind of taxing in a different way sober, to be completely honest. Udra Nightshade, you can whisper me the link after, and I'm happy to follow through on that. I don't know when we're done. But,
Yo,
like,
Spectre's 81. Bro, appreciate you being here, man.
yeah. And I fucks with all of y'all.
So,
To me, this is like, because to me, this is like blessing shits, right? Like, how I learn, I get high and I learn some shit, and I get bored and I learn some shit. So, like, really, I just am more curious, I think, when I'm super stoned. And that includes about other people. And
yeah.
sober me, it's not that I don't. I learned how to because of my day job. But, like, if I'm stoned, it's just naturaler looking. And when I'm sober, like, yo, if I don't really give a shit about you, it's gonna be way more transparent. I'm not even gonna lie. Um, that's just the truth of the situation. But then it's like I'm more willing to be like, say fucking word if I'm like stupid high. So it's like that's good for TV and shit. That's what Nori does. Let's be fucking real. You're
Of course.
incredible, my guy, bro. I stole everything from Nori. I was like, wait a second. I can just tell people they're
But
fire
Nori, here's
and they'll
the thing
talk
about
to
Nori
me.
though. Before Nori having his podcast, I knew that Nori needed to do that. And I was calling it because I was seeing some interviews with him and just because I knew from even like growing up as a kid in the hip hop world, I knew that Nori knew everybody and Nori was cool with everybody. So I'm like, yo, this guy in the future, he's gonna have some of the wildest fucking stories about hip hop that nobody knows about. And I was telling myself, I'm like, yo, this guy needs to have a show. We need to protect this guy. This guy needs to be on a network or something. And then boom, Drink Chats got created. I was like, holy fuck, it's what I've been saying
Man,
all my fucking life.
but the premise of Drink Champs is the most brilliant shit. Like I feel like Joe Rogan proved you could do a
You're drinking,
5 hour
you're
show.
drinking with your boys. You're like, there's nothing better. Look what we're doing. Well, what I'm doing right now. I'm drinking beer and I'm telling hip hop stories. You do that amongst fucking hip hop pioneers, it's fucking gold, bro.
But like it's also the nature of getting these people who have such tenured careers who are probably no longer living this party life and bringing them almost back to an environment where psychologically like
Same.
you can like look at the situation and be like, nah, say a word. I bet there was in a lot of rooms like that back in the day. You know, like the way it's
For
designed is
sure.
perfect. And then you basically get all these people. Yo, Joe Rogan's podcast is super hard for me to watch now, man. Like this guy's like kind of fucking out there sometimes. Like he acts like he isn't like a fucking commander of a
Rogan is
giant.
fucked up.
Like he ignores his responsibility as a person in his position way too much for profit, and that bugs me not in a good way. However, he proved that lengthy podcast is a good idea. And then I think that with Drink Champs, you learn that giving people credit for their accomplishments is a good idea. And then both those things together got me here because really all I want to do is hear about your life so I can find your accomplishments. And I'm like a lot of people. I don't give a fuck if you're a legend because who the fuck am I, right? We're all like up in this shit. um,
But Ismail, you were there for that episode, man. That was fucking crazy.
Yo, Ismail is the reason I know who a lot of people is. Like y'all think that sometimes the rappers be cool, but rappers isn't cool. I don't mean that disrespectfully to the rappers who are cool, but like I'll take 100 Ismails to any talented rapper any day of the week.
Of course.
Cause Ismail holds shit down. Udra Nightshade, she be like a Ismail too. Fucking big respect to her. I mean, you don't know what that means yet, but like you'll probably figure it out. I mean, say a word. There's a
First time
fucking sword
yeah.
of truth next to her name. Say a fucking word. That's fire shit. But like, yeah, I just fucks with that community shit. Like, I mean, me and Willie, we be out there with our fucking egos and our talkity talks, but without Ismails and Golden Jennies and all these people who like come through, to me, it's like they be the motherfuckers that like really create a community. Cause like, it's like honestly, I like the fact that sometimes people want to come through and they're like, I'm not also a rapper. That is more exciting for me. Like my favorite interviews are like these ones where I get to like watch you put your finger on the side of a turntable and be like, say a word, that's some teacher shit.
Yo, to be honest with you, bro, I didn't even know you were a rapper until like later on.
It's
I thought
because
you were just a fucking interviewer, and then I heard then I don't know when was it, but and I was like, oh shit, he raps too. God damn.
I mean, at a certain point, you're like, I'm 33 at the time. My birthday just passed, unfortunately. But like, everybody's a rapper in my circle. It's not even a flex to be a rapper. I know so
No,
many
being a rapper is
people
not even
who
cool.
can freestyle in my face for 4 hours that Harry
They're not
Mack
even
isn't even talented by comparison to some of the dudes I know. No offense, because if it's people here, they'd be like standing hard, and I don't want to be burning bridges. But like I just know dudes in real life that are that good. Okay, like
But see, just because you're able to freestyle or just because you're able to come up with words faster than an average person doesn't mean that you're a good rapper or doesn't mean that you can make it in the hip hop game.
but
It
then
just means that you're able
facts.
to do what you do. It just means that you're able to do what you do
And like
in a sort of
honestly,
way.
I felt
But that's
like,
it.
so here's what happened for me. I read in 2018, I read KRS-One's The Gospel of Hip Hop. And that guy said, give back to your community for 3 years and you will never have to suffer again. And I thought that was pretty good advice. Y'all watch. I really put that into play
The
around
thing,
2019.
me before going or thinking of doing a club gig or something like that, I was like, no, man, I need at least 2 years of working on my own craft without anybody knowing. And then once I'm comfortable, then I'll fucking throw my shit out.
I
But
mean,
until then, if I don't have at least 2 years of experience,
but
no,
like the
no.
thing is like I've been performing for so long, right? Like I performed 2012 to 2016 pretty heavy. I got lucky, okay? Like I got set up because my homeboy knew this dude Bookworm. Next thing you know, they liked my Reverb Nation or whatever the fuck it was, and I did this set. I crushed that shit, okay? Like
Reverb session? I remember Reverb session.
Reverb Nation, like the
Oh,
fucking website.
Reverb Nation. Sorry,
SMM,
but
yeah.
yeah, it was like a website and
Yeah, it
stuff. Or
was
like,
like SoundCloud before, like around when SoundCloud was starting, and
whoa,
they had that ranking
oh,
page and
dude,
shit. So I was like in doing that shit,
wow.
like early intern. Like it wasn't even early. I should have been around for a long time. But it was 2012. I did this show. Motherfucker sang my hook and shit. We got it on fucking camera, and like after that, it was kind of a wrap, right? Like if you come fucking on your first performance, open a show and steal it in front of 85 people in this dingy fucking CFC bar with the curved fucking Sealy. Like, it kind of had a little local buzz for a minute where I kept getting invited to shit. So for about 4 years, I never had to try to get booked to a thing. And then one day it just stopped. And I'm like, oh, okay, I don't know what happened there. So I realized a few things along the journey. And one of the things that happened for me was the Macklemore situation with his second project and how weird it got received. And I started caring more about like the culture, and I didn't know fuck all about it because I was a white dude who rapped. I wasn't like at all hip hop. In fact, my first project is called "Is This Hip Hop?" Like, for a long time my shit was slash HSR is not hip hop. Like I ain't even fronting. Like you could argue for a quick minute I'm that vulture that none of y'all like. So then I went ahead and got my fucking education on via the album reviews, and I did that for a long ass time, and I got my ass handed to me.
So what was your first hip hop like group that you actually like got into and was
I
like,
mean, I fucked with like rap. So like for me, it wasn't like I didn't understand. Even now, it's hard for me to answer that. Like I was listening to DMX when I was 12 because I went to Wager and shit, and it was just like around me. It's a black high school, in case people don't
DMX
know.
played a huge part of my life.
And then Eminem comes off, so white boys be doing it too. But like, if you were to ask me what rappers I was bumping back in the day, like when I started rapping, it's like fucking Sage Francis, it's fucking MGK, it's like the white boys. I was
Yeah.
listening to the white boys back then, so I wasn't really like I was more like, fuck all of y'all. I'm that middle class dude that doesn't do crime type shit. I literally have a bar bragging about having a job on my first project. Like it was corny a little bit now looking back, right? Because I didn't, but like I don't know shit about shit. I don't understand systemic anything. I don't understand all those things I learned about over the last like 5 years of my life and whatnot. But like, so I did album reviews because I figured, look, I don't know shit. This is a culture. At least I can publicly learn this shit. So y'all can go watch my whole fucking journey if you want. It's all still there. YouTube.com/behind that suit, the companion to this shit. Boom. But like, so that's where this interview gonna get dropped after. That's another little pluggy poo. Dead celebrity status was big for me in fucking high school. Like I fucking heard that we and that shit fucking slapped so hard. I knew the whole album by heart because it wasn't like just Eminem for me. Eminem was like an option amongst a lot of people. And then like later on Eminem became like the dude when I was a little bit older. And like I don't know, man. I think I like DMX more. Like back then. I really like fucking
Yeah,
DMX.
big time.
He was
But
just
I mean, Slim Shady did like some crazy shit too. But yeah, no,
no,
DMX,
but
like
DMX's delivery back
not just
then,
that, but his topics, like
storytelling.
that's
Oh,
that's what I'm telling you. Like DMX played a big part of me growing up and like like making the difference of like friends, girlfriends, and stuff, and real life and shit that you yourself go through in real life. Yo, like DMX like was that realization for me. I was like, oh shit, like because I had a bad breakup around that time, and I was like listening to DMX in like the most like obscure, like I would like go into my room, blast the fucking speakers, turn off all the lights, and just like listen to DMX fucking loud in my room.
like so but I mean
Bruh.
I got this skewed experience though because I went to Uyghurs, so like I mean I knew what Dipset was back then. I knew what a lot of things were, but I was like hearing songs because my parents never let me cop albums that like had cuss words on them. So good luck trying to fucking buy a rap album back then. One time my dad heard that I had the uncensored 8 Mile soundtrack, and he snapped my fucking CD collection. Okay,
Well, see,
snapped my
I was
CD
lucky.
collection. Oh,
My parents weren't super great in English, so what I was listening to, it was going in one ear, so they weren't catching the bad words or anything like that.
mhm.
So
So
I
it
was
ended
able
up
to.
being like I think Linkin Park possibly like for Linkin Park to me was like the greatest thing to happen to music, and I would die on that hill to this day. Like if I had to pick some shit for an island, it's Linkin Park because if I could, I don't even fucking care. It's my favorites. Y'all can hate if you want. I'm a guy who loves new metal though, because you got to keep in mind I'm 12 years old, and Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park, and Korn are the kings of the world. Y'all might
Corn.
hate it, but like to
I don't
me,
know.
it's
I
my
was a corn fan.
introduction.
I was a
But
corn fan.
it was my
Limp Bizkit,
introduction to music. Limp Bizkit's fantastic, bro. There's nothing like
super
being
dope. But yeah. Like Fred Durst was dope. Like and
like you got
I
like
love
some
it.
cosigns nobody want to admit were fire. Okay, like I got introduced to DMX, Method Man, and Redman not just because of whatever, but like that Limp Bizkit track in like that album introduced me to some fucking people, right? Like Exhibit's on the album too, if I'm not mistaken. You think I would have heard Exhibit if it wasn't for Limp Bizkit?
See me exhibit fucking 90, 97, 98 paparazzi, man. Sheesh.
Um, Damien is a fucking beautiful series. All the Damiens. Rage Against the Machine is fire, but like in 2000, I don't know that they were as fire. They were. That was in the middle of their breakup, and like I'm kind of young
Yeah.
for them at that point. Like let's be real, they were like hot, but like only if you were into that shit, and I was not into that shit. I
If you knew,
wanted to
you knew.
bump Sean Paul. No, that's what it is, bro. I all that pop
Yeah,
music,
shouts
like
to Sophia. Sophia, what up?
yo, what up, Sophia? I don't know who Sophia is, but shout her out.
She just tuned in on the background.
Yeah, shout her out. But yo, shout out all of you. Limp Bizkit first album. I'm sorry, but Chocolate Starfish and the hot dog flavored water is full of bangers to this fucking day. I don't even care what anyone
For
says,
sure.
bro. When I listen to My Generation, that shit
There you
slaps.
go. Paparazzi was 96, man. 96, you
Mm.
sure? Oh, yeah, he does say even at the beginning of the song, 96. It's a function of a new era.
Two Live Crew, bro. I respect Two Live Crew because of all of the impact and shit, but I can't get into their music that much. I have a
If
little bit of
if
trouble with it.
if it wasn't for Two Life Crew, we wouldn't be cursing on tracks.
I agree with you, and so I have all love for it. Plus, I would do anything to go back in time and watch a 1990 something Two Live Crew fucking show live in concert. I would.
Well, YouTube that shit, you'll find that.
No, I want to be there though, cause that looks
Oh,
wild. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to be at the show. Tribe Called Quest is amazing,
what's
but I was
what's
like,
your
sorry.
I got a question for you. What's the era that you would want to go back and experience? Like so, for example, like so
No,
what
I
I
hear
mean, like
you. I'm trying to think about
60s,
it.
70s, the disco era, 80s.
Like if I have like all the history, and I'm being real objective, like I have to answer a couple of ones, cause I can't just pick one. For one, I would love to go to like Harlem 1930s 20s era. That era looks fire.
Yeah, a little bit later. Me, I'd be a
Because
little bit later,
everyone's
but
on
yeah,
cocaine and
definitely.
weed back then.
Yeah.
And while I don't know how I feel about coke now, I'd probably love coke then. And it really looks like a good vibe. Um, y'all be looking at that shit. Just remember, everybody's on speed and cocaine back then. Okay, like don't be playing like they were fucking sober when they judge you now. It was diet pills. Psh, get the fuck out of here. But that's facts, yo. You go listen to some of this shit. We're not allowed to do the drugs people used to do to make the music that y'all fucked with. That's all I'm saying. So like,
But also the drugs weren't the same.
they were on speed in the 50s and 60s. So when they be doing their
It
8 hour rock sets, fucking wrecked
wasn't the
on speed.
same.
What? What?
I mean, it wasn't the same. Like it wasn't not necessarily as potent, or it was more clean or anything like, compared to the bullshit that there is now.
But effectively, they could eat the shit like candy because they sold it at the
Yeah,
dep. And so
yeah, for sure.
I'm just trying to be like, let's have some context for some of the eras. But yo, that like 1920s era looks wild. Like the racism and shit aside, it looks really fucking wild from a musical live show perspective. The way that like the live event would have been done due to the cocktail of narcotics. These people fucking shot back and played crazy jazz fusion music in the middle of clubs to a bunch of fucking mix of people integrating for like one of the first times in history in like a social way as generations collide. That would be fucking wild. Otherwise, I think this is the best fucking era to be a rock star in, and I would rather be a rock star now because NDAs is
No,
fucking
is
wild.
there
Yeah,
really? Why?
shit's. I mean, just a bit of that 1970s shit, but you can just do that now. So like, I don't know why people wild out. You can have like 6 girls in the back room if you don't rape anybody. So like I don't really know what the issue is. It's just that most people lie to everybody. So like nah, like you can just do some wild shit now. Plus, I would know things are like wildly what they are. Like I heard some stories back then, man. My dad like brags about like fucking going bareback with every second girl he fucked back. I'm like, I don't know if that's the era I really want to go be. Like, it's the era I can fetishize until you really think about the logistics of that era, and it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know if that's really it for me. And then the 90s is, I'm not tough like that, so it doesn't actually sound that appealing. Like, yo, to be a soft rapper? Fuck, this is the best era for it.
Oh, well, yeah, to be like emo type of artist
Bro, I've been
nowadays.
a,
Like, yeah,
I've been, I mean, I'm not gonna
emo
call
artist
myself an
in
emo
general. Oh yeah,
artist, but yeah, I basically made emo
now
rap since 2012.
everything's acceptable now.
I,
Everything's acceptable. Like
yeah, it
come out
wasn't. Yo,
as
I
a
used to rap at gangsters, and they would just fucking dead ass stare at me like, "What the fuck is happening here?"
yeah, because they wouldn't understand. They're like,
And
yo,
I
what the
didn't
fuck?
understand what the fuck they liked because I would watch them go on stage after, and I'd be like, "This is baffling." Ironically, now I think I could do some shit they fuck with, and I fucks with what they do so heavy.
It would definitely be either the 60s or the 70s that I would love to come back and experience that music from them.
Mm, like full on
Since
acid trip shit.
because especially for Latin music, like in New York and in the Bronx and all that shit, like for Latin music, it was like groundbreaking,
Okay,
and
yeah.
especially with the fusion of like Latin jazz and all that shit, like like being high, like I could just imagine myself being high and listening and taking in all those those tracks or that music that was created then. I would just love that shit, man, to
Mm.
be in those shoes back then.
My man's is Puerto Rican from the Bronx. He's who I went down to go see. So he's told me a whole lot of what you're describing, and I could appreciate what you're coming from. That is a vibe that like would be wild. Some real good romancy shit too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, well, for sure. Us Latin people, we're definitely on the. We're very like open when it comes to like either loving things or being like being able to express our love for either another person or for music. We were very expressive like that at the time from them.
I mean,
But
don't get me wrong. It sounds like I'd want to like I'd want to pop in a time machine and hang out for a day, but like I would rather be like in the 20s and shit because that shit is like so low key that you can really like
right,
live in a
but
way
that's the
that is
thing.
different.
Just it would be too early into the evolution of the music would be. So in the if I would be in the 60s or the 70s, I would be able to still go back and revisit what the years that you're talking about.
Mm. But I feel like for me, it's more like it's not just the like sound, it's the rooms that they performed in, the culture that existed at the time, the way people lived, the way drug dealing happened, like all of it. There's like a romantic mystique in my head about it. Like, yo, imagine being at this fucking speakeasy while fucking Malcolm X rolls through and shit. You know, like this is some wild times to think about, and how amazing the culture is, and how much history gets born there and whatnot. I don't know, the lower end of shit is wild to me. Like some of my favorite performances are at Death House more than anything else, because it's just that low end grunge vibe, or that lower end. That shit's so fucking packed too. Everybody was rolling through and it was all hidden, right? Especially in the speakeasy era, bro. I don't
Yeah.
know. I fetishize that secret bar shit a little bit. It just sounds like you literally have to be in the know or you're a fucking square. I'd rather be a hipster than a square back then, because if y'all know, they was the actual hipsters, was those people. Yeah, that's right. The term has existed since the fucking 20s, everyone. I don't know if you guys etymology like that. But yeah,
Yo, cheers, y'all, man. If y'all drinking in the chat room right now, cheers to y'all.
yo, shout out all of y'all.
Man.
Did you ever listen to punk rock? I shout out Spectres too.
Um, well, I can't say that I was like, uh, a huge punk rock fan, but yeah, I definitely listened to some in our high school era. There was because here's the thing too. Like me growing up in high school, I was like the type of dude that was cool with everybody. So at the same time that I was this big hip hop dude, this rap dude, whatever. Growing up, I was still cool with like the people, the alternative people, the people that would listen to other music or punk rock music or whatever. I was still cool with them, and I would still be intrigued because the thing too is that I would low key listen to their music too when I was at home or something because of my sister. So I
Mm.
knew what their vibe was or whatever. And that's another thing that I keep on saying about myself growing up is that I'm always been able to adapt myself in different crews or different people. So if like I'm sure my man Spexter knows, like he knew that I was cool with a bunch of different people. So yeah, there was at some point that I
Yo,
was cool
according to
with
Spectres, pretty much the entire region fucking loves you. I've been watching him shout out
and the worst
specific
thing
things that's
till right now I don't even know who that dude is. I have no idea. Why is he
it
dropping
could
all
even
these
be a
names all
she,
the time?
yo.
Like,
I got in trouble
who's
one time
she?
because I missed. The they is the safe move on the Twitch, but probably I don't know. He, she, they, whatever's. I don't know.
But yeah, man, shouts to Spectres, man. He seemed that person seems to know a lot about my upcomings.
And that's really great. They enhanced the fuck out of this interview. I want you to know you the
Word.
MVP still, Spectres. You're my favorite one in the chat today. That's not my girlfriend. Um, Willie wants to know, other than hip hop, what is your go-to genre?
Oh, okay. Well, see, so yes, I am a hip hop head till I fucking die. I eat shit, sleep, breathe hip hop. So hell yeah. But definitely my second genre, or what's even I would say as equal as hip hop, it's salsa, man. I grew up listening to salsa because of my dad, and salsa right now, especially since Twitch, I got close to salsa because of that. I started making that show with Grouch and Casalimas because we are three DJs that love salsa music, and we all seem to love the same type of salsa. So when we got doing that show, every show I would like dig up records and stuff like that I used to remember from back then. So it's like even till this day, right now, it's still a learning process. Every Wepa Wednesday, I put some time and fucking start digging into some shit that either I don't remember no more or that I even actually didn't know that I'm discovering till this day. So right now, salsa has taken a lot of time from my process of going to music and stuff like that. So yeah, 100%, man. I'm a hip hop and salsa fucking dude.
Fucks with that.
Whatever.
Ismail has two questions, and I saw your other one,
Go
Ismail,
Ismail.
but Willie highlighted it, so I felt like the points had to count for something. um, but Ismail wants to know two things. One, is you in touch with the Peruvian hip hop scene at all? And who is the biggest salsa artist nowadays? Olive, with your expert opinion, good sir.
Right. Well, unfortunately, I am not that much into like I'm not very knowledgeable of like the hip hop scene in Peru. I know there is one, but it's more like I would say it's more like a freestyle type of scene that there is right now. You know, I wouldn't say that there's an actual like hip hop scene like us, for example, back in the days. But it's definitely all about the battle right now. And I don't know if you guys know, but like Red Bull has been holding down these huge, and when I mean huge, guys, I mean huge like rap battles that are going down in South America, and it's like super disciplined. And I'll send you a link or something. I saw this a couple like probably 2 or 3 years ago. It blew my mind how it was disciplined and how it was. It was literally a Red Bull. You know how Red Bull has their b-boy competition in France.
Kinda. I mean, I can pick when
You
you
know,
say Red Bull, I picture fancy and high scale. So don't get me wrong.
well, that's what I'm saying. It is like that. So it is fancy and high
Like I,
scale.
I picture
So
Tech Nine more than I picture not Tech Nine. With like the
okay,
live
but
show.
yeah, but no, but okay, but it's just to let you know is that these kids only know that, and so it's super organized. It's like a legit battle.
Yo,
You
that
have like a
explains them
generic
fucking kids in the park that be Spanish that be doing this shit for like hours on
bro,
end.
bro, and they go in, they go ham, and it's fucking crazy. And what I'm trying to tell you is like how disciplined it is. It's like even it's so disciplined that even the crowd participates. Like so every time there's a beat, there'll be like a generic beat. They'll be like, oh shit, a generic boom bap beat, a typical fucking drum pattern beat, whatever. And then there'll be okay, double time. Then there'll be a trap beat, a super generic trap beat, but super dope. Like it actually fucking bangs. And these guys are fucking freestyling. They're keeping like their 30-second limits and everything, and it's well organized. As soon as the 30 seconds ends, the other dude comes in, and then boom, and then at some time they'll cut off their bars and they'll go back and forward. Yo, bro, I'm telling you, like it looks scripted, but it's not. It's all like yeah, they know what their times are, but they all respect it. It's not like you know when you see a Smack DVD or whatever, they'll go over the time and they'll talk over whatever. Nobody listens. Nah, man. This is like, oh shit, somebody fucked up their line or they can't. Yo, the crowd will try to pump them up again, and then he'll restart, and then he'll have his, and then you'll see the crowd saying like 1, 2, 3, go, and then the dude will start rapping. Like, yo, bro, it's beyond amazing.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting you to go there with that, but that's wild. Stills.
But yo, but and what I'm telling you, like these are big competition. They're like international competition, so they go in each and every country, and it's as big on each and every country. Look it up, man.
Nah, I mean, I'm gonna check. I'm sure it's gonna be easy to find Red Bull rap battle Latin America. Boom, go done. YouTube's
boom.
gonna have a million fucking
Bro,
videos.
you see waves
No,
and
but the
waves.
thing is I was watching them do this in a circle, and the one thing I noticed was how bad it was. It was like they were training to pass it every 4 bars perfectly. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. Or like they had an exact time, and I thought it was super like interest, all of it, because it's not what I'm accustomed to, and I'm not into it that much as like a spectator. Like I would watch it more to see what you're talking about more than like I know that somebody said battling on beats needs to come back. Well, I'm gonna be real. I much prefer battling no beats. I love the theater of that shit.
Yes and no,
But that's
because
my prefer. But it's not about hip hop. There, it's about bro. As a writer, this is what I'm a writer before I know this other shit. And as a writer, bro, that shit's
yeah, but you can't just freely write shit and not make it.
no. There's
You know,
more, but no. There's a lot to it. There's a lot to the delivery. There's a lot to how they do it, and with the acapella, the spacing, the timing, the playing the crowd, the way they work the crowd and shit, super fucking important. All right, there were some other questions, but I just think I like that better than the beat one. That's my preference. I understand that it originates on beat battles and shit, and I get it. Willie wants to know if you still dig for records or is it all MP3s these days?
100%. I still dig for records as soon as I get a chance. Like when I'm out of town, or when I go to Toronto, or when I go to Ottawa or whatever. I'll find myself into a record store and look for things that because at the end of the day, yes, I'm still a music collector. Yes, I would still drop a beat or make a beat if ever I find the perfect sample type of thing. So yes, I always like my mind is always gravitates to that. So wherever I'm at, if I find something that, oh shit, I never knew about this, and then I'll dig to it, and then I'll be like, I'll be able to use this for something else or whatever. So yeah, like my mind is always thinking about music. So yeah, I definitely dig into still into vinyls or whatever, even shit that I'll dig digitally, and then I'll try to find it
Yo, but here's the thing,
either
like,
or
sorry, I'm just
whatnot.
watching the chat with the rapping. Like, to y'all, it's really fun, I'm sure, but to me, I find half the bars I hear because I watch a lot of these Facebook rap battles now, and I'm sure these guys is writers, and 9 times out of 10, the shit's boring as fuck to me. Like, I never want to listen to it again. That's the thing
For sure.
about it. Whereas the theatrical shit and the way that they come with the bars and the acapellas, at least the one-liners that slap, like fucking slap, like they're quotables and shit. I don't get that with the beat shit. Like maybe in Spanish, maybe in
But
other
that's the thing.
things. In
So
English,
there's
nah.
there's too much going on. You got to make sure that the dude is rapping on beat. You got to make sure that it. So there's a lot of things to
So
process
like
when you're listening with a beat.
But like,
But
but it's also my preference though, cause like I'm like
sure,
I had to learn how to simplify my writing for music. Like I'm one of those dudes who had to learn how to like not be so over the top with it, cause nobody wants to listen to that shit type thing. Nah, no, it's Twitch. The half the reason I'm on Twitch with this is so y'all can fucking make tangents. Cause you think I'm that fucking creative to keep it going this long without y'all? Are you baffled? Y'all the
yeah. Sorry, guys. I need
MVPs.
to go to the washroom one more
Nah,
time,
you
man.
run your shit. I'll hold it down with y'all.
I opened the gates.
Nah, I hear
I think
you. For
for
me, it's
good.
just water. So thankfully, the gates are not quite open in the same way.
I think I'm fucked for the rest of the night. But hold on, man, guys. I'll be right
Well,
back.
we got you,
Um,
man. You
Yo, if
wonderful.
you want my homie, fucking, what's his name, DJ Eddie King or comedian Eddie King challenged me on that last year. I was like, all right, motherfucker, I'll do this. So the point was to remake the scratchings of DJ Premier of your favorite Premier song, and I chose that one.
Dope. I mean, I liked it. I mean, okay, like I have no fucking idea how good you are relative to another scratch person, cause like,
Oh, I definitely suck. Definitely,
but
like
if you
if
were
you're a
to
good
like say,
scratch
like,
DJ,
is that dope for me to listen to? That was dope for me to listen to.
word.
Um, but there were questions in there. Are you cool with DJ Manifest? Was the question. I don't know if there's
Of
context for
course.
that.
Yo, Manny is my man. And ever since so I've known Manny for a while, right? Because we had like a bunch of like mutual friends. And then at some point when I was like, starting up in as a DJ here, so I would go to clubs and like, pay pay my respects or like support the local DJ scene. So I would go often to go see Manifest because Manny, is a real hip hop head, and I would go to his night. So yeah, eventually me and Manny became super cool, and because we have like mutual friends, and ever since the pandemic, we started talking a bit more, and we've been saying that we got to do something together soon. So Manifest and Eazy El Dee will be working on something fairly soon, man.
Yeah, it's big news. I mean, I know what DJ Manifest is because I've talked to people who have told me this is a name I must know, and I
Yeah.
believe we're now Facebook friends.
Okay. That's the thing nowadays, right? We're Facebook friends. Yes.
I mean, it might not be a thing for y'all, but if you're over the age of
No, of
27,
course.
it's 100% a thing for y'all. If you're under the
We
age
do.
of 27, you're like, did he just say what I think he said? Psh, yeah, baby. I'm old like that. But I think he just showed up, or he was already in my Facebook friends. I don't really know because I add people if they have, like, here's what happens I get the friend requests, and it's like 237 mutual friends. And they're all Montreal rap related.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna fucking add this person, and they should probably know me. And like,
Exactly.
it's a pretty good vetting process at this point with how many of the people know each other here. But okay, so with your career, right? So you start doing your DJ thing for a minute. How do you get like linked up with Under Pressure?
Well, like I said, I've been going to Under Pressure as a as a fan since I was a kid. So
Mm,
I always knew Under Pressure, and growing up, I met the right people, and I was always in the circle of the people who were organizing and everything. And then once I started DJing, and I was like, okay, I think I want to fuck with Under Pressure. I was able to go see the person directly and say, yo, I would love to play for y'all and whatever. And it's like, yeah, sure. Like, say less. Like, again, it was because they already trusted me, or they knew who I was, or my entourage or whatnot. And then I was like, yeah. So they got me in. And once I did it, every year they kept on inviting me again. So
that's
anytime with Under Pressure, like Under Pressure is my family, man.
I fucks with them. They were cool. I got one of those Under Pressure 25 masks that not many people got.
Yo, Ismail, first Under Pressure edition I probably went to was probably in the early 2000s. So probably maybe 2003, 2004. Fuck, I can't even remember what was the lineup like or anything like that. But yeah, like because again, growing up, I grew up with a lot
Okay,
of b
so
boys too. So we would come down to Under Pressure just for the b-boy battles and shit. So and once you're on the Under Pressure, you go see everything. You go see the graffiti artists, and there's a show at the Fufune Electric, and then you got everybody fucking freestyling outside, drinking outside in the streets. Yo, it's straight hip hop. Like if you want to get known into the like hip hop life or whatever, you go to Under Pressure. Easy.
fair. Unfortunately for me, the only time I got to know Under Pressure, I was told show up at Fuffoon's, nobody's allowed in the venue, and here's a mask that nobody else can have, and I'm like, I
Yeah, Fufun has always been interesting, man. But shouts to Fufun though, because they hosted fucking Under Pressure for so many fucking years.
and they did it
Till
through
this day.
COVID, right? And that's what's really cool. Like, I watched your stream when you were doing your.
Yeah, we did it. We did it. COVID. They were. Yeah, that was that. I thought that was super cool that they opened the venue just for us to be able to DJ there, and we were able to stream it. Super dope.
Yeah, it was really great. I watched you do that live this year. I was like, I should watch him. And then you and the other dude, Overflow, were back to back,
Overflow. So,
and I'm like,
have you ever reviewed Overflow?
I did. I had his interview lined up, right? And then you were on right before him, so I'm like, well, I mean, I may as well.
Oh,
But
shouts
I
to
know.
Overflow. Overflow too. Overflow is like one of the first DJs that gave me like a platform to come DJ with because he was DJing at Sharks.
Say a
Sharks
word.
Pool Bar.
When was he
Yeah,
doing that? Like what years?
Sharks. This is early. Like this is when I was starting up DJing. So this is probably like 2000, 2011. Yeah, 2011,
Bro, I
2012
fucking
maybe.
swear he might have like been the DJ at one of my fucking office parties.
Yo. So anyway, so that's what I'm saying. And when I was starting as DJing, I was looking up for DJs in the scene, and I stumbled up on him, and then saw his videos, and I was like, yo, shit, this is dope DJ. Then I heard his mixtapes, and then whatever, I reached out, and I sent him some stuff that I made, some couple mixtapes. He's like, yo, you're dope, and then he invited me to come DJ with him at Sharks. So I was like, all right, cool, dope. We did it. We fucking had super fun. We fucking had chemistry on the wheels, and then eventually he started asking me to replace him, and then eventually it landed me
Shit, maybe you
uh,
were the DJ
a
at my
residency,
office party.
there, and then I started DJing there on Fridays. I had a night called Sharknado Fridays.
I fucking
And
have
yeah,
been to
man,
that shit. We did that
bro, that
shit
was me,
a
man.
hundred
That was,
percent. Back when I was in the early call center days, one of the bosses had a $250 budget to take us drinking every fucking month as an incentive to work there. And we at some point ended up at the Sharknado shit, because you don't forget that shit when you hear it. And we like sharks for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's the
Sharks
pool
was
hall.
dope. Yo, what? It was a pool hall. You could play fucking bowling too.
Yo,
and
that's
fucking
fine.
street golf balls, and it had a bunch of like
Nice
uh,
shit too. If you
chilling
wanted to be
couches and
fancy,
shit.
yo,
Bro, it was super
it's like
dope.
you could be like the grungiest whatever, but then all of a sudden there'd be bougie shit happening just like 10 feet away.
Yeah.
Nah, that was some good times. So he was doing the Sharks residency. That's wild, man. That's like an
Yeah, man.
era of
So,
life,
so
bro.
again, once again, shouts to fucking Overflow, man. He hooked it up with that, and to me, that was like my one of my first like reoccurring gigs in Montreal because back then I was still in Ottawa. So here's this thing, right? So as I was coming up as a DJ, I wasn't getting a lot of gigs here in Montreal at first because I didn't know nobody. Not that I didn't know nobody, but I wasn't out for the people that I knew. I wasn't gonna get and ask them, "Yo, put me on, put me on, put me on." I'm not that type of dude. So like what I was getting in Ottawa was keeping me busy, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, this is Ottawa because I already know these people. I grew up in Ottawa, so that's why I'm getting gigs there. But my goal was to conquer fucking Montreal, and then like I said, it started out with fucking Overflow that hooked me up with that, and then I was able to flood the social medias and flood Facebook and all that, and be like, yo, I'm playing here, and I kept a buzz going
I see
for
how
myself.
Blaster does it today. I see how Blaster be.
Yo, Blaster's a dude, but Blaster is an OG, triple OG. Blaster was doing them parties that weren't promoted, and you knew it was fucking bumping, because it was fucking Blaster.
Fair. Yeah,
But
no.
yeah, no. There's some dudes in the city that obviously carried their own name throughout the times that there was no social media, and then once they got into social media, boom, they were able to blossom normally because they've been putting work in the city, you know.
All I know about DJ Blaster is he taught me that the twerk emojis are not for men. Men have no interest in the twerk emojis. We don't need it. It was for women. Women like throwing twerk emojis. And I do
That's the DJ
not,
Blaster, man. DJ Blaster's the fucking
because I had
triple OG, man.
no fun. And then I'm on his stream sometimes, rarely because it's lunchtime when I'm at work, so it's a bad time for me. But I'm watching women turn up digitally with emotes, and I'm like, oh, that's wild. And I had to like sit there and like
But
think about that for 10 minutes because it was baffling to like really click.
Blaster also was another guy that gave me a chance too. At fucking Blue Dog, he was there on I think it was Wednesdays, right? So I would always go show some love, and then eventually I was like, yo, I would love to play alongside with you, nah, nah, nah. And then eventually it happened. He's like, yo, you want to come through and play? I'm like, fucking right, let's do it, and then we build a relationship through that too.
Yeah. I mean, that seems to be the move. Go show love. And when you show love, the motherfuckers, like, I don't even. Dude, Ismail told me to raid you. I had no fucking idea who you were. I didn't, like, it made no difference to me who I was
And
raiding
what
in
was it?
that
Was it
moment.
was it a hip? Was it a rap tape Thursday? I think that you guys rated, or
Bro,
what
I
was it?
rated you
A
so
live?
many fucking times, honestly, because for a while, you would just be the only guy live at the time that I knew. So it was like, well, I know Eazy El Dee's in Montreal. I should probably fucking rate. And it just and then Audiophile was another one that for a minute he'd just be fucking live, and that was it. That was the requirement to getting rated. I'd heard of you, and that was enough. And then Ismail just does that shit. He'll like so I added the fucking guide the raid thing, and then people bring me to places. But prior to guide the raid, Ismail was guide the raid. And then Eazy El Dee was the only guy on his stream at 10 something p.m. when I would finish my interviews when they went late, and my cipher when it went. I think it was mostly the cipher on Tuesdays actually, when I would go like because we ended at 10:30, and you'd be like the only guy regularly live at that time.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So if it was on Tuesdays, it was probably during the El Sazon. So yeah, I do El Sazon every single Tuesday, and
Yeah.
it goes from fucking 8 p.m. till fucking 2, 3 a.m. Whatever the fuck I decided. So
Yo, what's up, DJ Crystal Clear? You can try to interrupt. I'm gonna not be like that willing to interrupt. He's gonna try and say some shit. It's gonna be wild. Whatever he says is wild. Just know that he's doing it on purpose, and he's having fun with it. But like, Nah, so you're doing that, and then one of the questions that got asked earlier that I felt like, so you're doing your takeover, a blaster hooks you up, and I guess you just kind of just it cascades. What are some of the like highlights of all this? Then I know you name dropped some celebrities before, so we can include those in highlights. But like,
Okay. Well, okay. So here in Montreal, so okay, so yeah, I give my props to Overflow and Blaster, obviously, but the main guy that had like a main role as for me making it here in Montreal or starting up, it's got to be Godfather D. I don't know if you ever heard of Godfather D. He also goes by the name of his alter ego Don Barbarino. So he's a huge hip hop DJ, obviously. But when he goes with Don Barbarino, he does house. So pretty much, Godfather D is a fucking like a fucking OG, triple OG here in the city. I used to come. So before I moved to Montreal, I used to come to Montreal to celebrate my birthday, and I would bring a whole squad from Gatineau to Montreal. We would rent like two fucking hotel rooms, one next to each other, and we would fucking party all night. Back then, we were able to do that. You know, it was before the extra percussion started happening in hotel rooms and shit like that. But yeah, we would come down like 15, 20, 25 people deep, and we would always go to this fucking jam. His jam was fucking Chilling Cypherism, and it was at Lola Lounge. And this was probably early 2002, 2003, 2004 in Montreal. So we would go to his fucking nights. And so I was there almost every fucking at least once a month or twice a month. I would come down to Montreal because at that time there was nothing more for me in Gatineau or whatever. Everybody was settling down with their girls, so I would have one of my best friends was living in Montreal, so I would come and visit him almost every weekend, and that's how I fell in love with the city also, and that's what made my moving to Montreal a better transition because I was always here every weekend. I started to already know like the nightlife a little bit, what clubs were hot and all that shit. But anyway, so we started going to see that guy. So Godfather D was like he was a fucking like he would play exactly the fucking hip hop that I would love and I would go fucking crazy on his nights. So anyway, so eventually me and him developed this relationship. And then when I told him, I'm like, yo, I'm starting to do this DJ thing. He's like, yo, whenever you're ready, you come see me. I'm gonna put you on. I'm gonna let you this chance. Like, sure, no problem, cool. So whenever I felt ready, back then this was so yeah, early 2007, 2008, or no, maybe 2009. Sorry, 2009. Yeah. So he had this club that he was doing. It was called En Cachette, and he would be there every fucking Friday. And then he invited me to DJ with him on a Friday night. Fucking night went bananas. It was fucking crazy. All because obviously, I know exactly what he plays, and I was able to compliment him when I started playing, and I was able to do my own shit, and everybody was like, "Yo, super dope." So then he would ask me to like come and join him from time to time, here and there, whatever. And then eventually he asked me to replace him because he couldn't do a night at that spot. And that's pretty much when everybody started putting eyes on me at that club, the owners and everything, because I was able to hold down the whole night and fucking kill it as per usual. And they were like, yo, this guy is dope. So then, I was there all the time. There was Ankashet became my spot. I was there regardless if I was playing or not. I was still there no matter what. And then eventually when the Saturday night DJ had to do something else, there was a vacancy. So right away they came to see me. He's like, yo, do you want to do it? I'm like, fuck, hell yeah. And that became my Montreal residency where I fucking became whoever I became in the city at that point.
wild.
So again, shouts to fucking DJ Godfather D. He's pretty much the one who gave me that opportunity to become that DJ for that spot for Montreal at that point.
So
So shouts to him.
basically, you had residencies, then you would do otherwise private gigs as they come up or other things. So one offs, maybe rappers need you. Um,
Exactly.
did you ever
And
get
mind
to?
you, I wasn't fucking with the track then yet. Um, the track, how me and the track came about. Well, so me and the track know each other from from early 2000s, but we re-linked up around 2010, 2011. He asked me to DJ for one of he had a book release party. He
Okay.
was releasing a book with pictures of Detroit, the city of Detroit. He had went to Detroit, so he kind of documented his trip over there, and he released a book. And he asked me to DJ that night. And then like after at the end of the night, he was like, "Yo, that was super dope." He's like, "Yo, I'm doing a show in a couple of days. Do you want to be my DJ, man?" I'm like, "Yo, fuck, for sure, fam. Let's go." Like because I always been a fan of the track before, and even before in the early stages of his career, I was his back vocalist. When I was like when I was leaving rap and I was like starting other things, I that's when I met the track and I left rap while I was his back vocalist or like his hype man, pretty much. That's how I got like out of rap. I stopped
Did you
rapping, then I
ever did
back
you ever get
vocal.
to go on tour as a DJ?
Yes, with the track.
Okay, because I
We,
didn't know.
we
I
did.
don't really know who that is, but I know who it is because you said his name.
Okay, so the track is a French rap artist from Gatineau. He's been rapping for a minute, and he lived also in Montreal for quite a minute too. And yeah, he's pretty much known for being a crazy writer. His bars are fucking you know super up there. And recently, he just released a new project with Nicholas Craven.
Okay.
Craven. So yeah, so they just released a whole album produced by Nicholas Craven, and in there's a track featuring Akhenaton from I Am, the le groupe de France que tout le monde connaît. So
No,
yeah,
dude.
so
When you
right now,
say tout le monde connaît, Holden
n'est
ne
pas I
connaît
Am.
pas.
T'as jamais entendu parler du groupe I Am?
So here's the thing, man. Like the last year and a half of my life has been really heavily focused on Anglo hip hop in Montreal. Not on like I don't care about the French side, but like there's not a lot of people that focus on the English side, and some people gotta be. Now, as time
But
goes
even then,
on,
so growing up,
bro, I barely
you never
spoke
heard.
fucking French, dude. I fucking hated French on
Okay,
some
so there you go.
language
So then,
politics
no,
shit. But then I got
fine.
older and I learned to speak fucking French. And then I don't really get bars in French like the way y'all do. So it's like, yo, I just listening to dudes rapping French and I'm listening to it. It's not like I listen to it again and it clicks any different. It's like I get it at the superficial levels and I get how things rhyme, but I do not understand
I'm very
French
picky.
hip hop in the way that I understand English hip hop.
I'm very picky when it comes to
I
like
fucks
French
with
rap.
Ape Mob.
So like,
Like I
oh,
had a day job,
my dudes, yo, that's fucking dialect and fucking chat.
but like on the other end, like I fucks like had a I worked with Justice McFly in corporate lines. Like he was my day job colleague for like a good chunk of time back when he did that video with fucking Ape Mob for a minute on that album they dropped. Travis Bryant's a dude I fucking know pretty regular right now. Back,
Charles, he was on the track. So I did
I
dialects on Cat Games mixtape. I mixed his mixtape last year or 2 years ago. No, last year. It was during the pandemic.
mm,
And Travis is on one of the
yeah.
the joints.
I
And
listen to that shit
he-
because Travis is on one of the joints, and I'm like trying to peep that shit. But I also interviewed Carleon Brown, so I got a
yeah,
sense of his story and some shit. He was really interesting to talk to.
yeah,
Um,
those are my dudes, man. Like, yo, Carleon and Chad, man, go way back, man. Way
yeah,
back.
man. And like for me, it's like again, I'm just getting introduced to it all now. But the other side of it is like there's a lot happening on the French side, and it's like I should care more, but it's so hard sometimes to like it takes real effort to consume French media like that. Like it's
No,
not.
especially you just said it everything when you said that you don't speak much French,
No, no,
but
no.
growing up,
I am like, but like currently, like I speak French, right? But like,
I mean,
yeah,
like
growing up, it was more like, because y'all may not know this, but if you have parents that were like mad English and didn't speak French in '95, you felt like it was a different vibe growing up at
of
that
course,
point than it would
like
have been like.
carré,
So
like
like
carré.
there is no fucking French music in my life. Like and then back then, man, like it was like "C'est soirée là," like it was a couple other joints you would hear, but like everyone just kind of made fun of French music. like all the time. I don't even know if it was deserved or not. All things considered, now we were kind of really mean to an entire scene of music on some language
Of course.
politics shit. But then like you get older and like you realize French is pretty fucking asset. Like yo, gosh man, I've gotten laid
Anyways,
off of
all this
speaking
to say
French,
that
bro.
so
But
my,
like,
my boy
yeah,
Trac has been, in the game for a minute.
right, my bad.
And in 2018, we were blessed enough to represent Canada in China as the French language. And we did a
What?
tour for 3 weeks in China. So we did 21, no, we did, hold on. We did 11 shows in 10 different cities in 21 days in China in 2018.
Wow, that was probably the last time it was safe to go there.
Yeah, 100%. I'm probably one of the last people that would ever set foot in China compared to a lot of people.
Yo,
But yeah, man,
especially in that context. Yo, what was it
March,
like, bro?
March, March 2018. So, yo, bro, it was crazy, man. We and it sucks talking about it because I know that I would probably never relive something like that again in my life. But I mean, it was beyond amazing. Like, bro, like we were getting like the red carpet treatment. Like each city, we had like fucking diplomats from the Canadian embassies coming to pick us up and make sure that we were all good and like everything from A to Z. Like we were like considered diplomats because we were there to represent Canada for the French language.
That is some of the wildest shit I heard, and a definite asset to learn how to speak. Why people should speak French. So all love to French today. I just want to make that clear. But that's wild. I'm gonna bump it. Like I've actually made more of an effort in the last like while to like play French songs here and there. That's how I know I don't get the bars. Cause like, but the flows, the way it
Just to
sounds,
put
like
you in perspective, the collabo he made on this album with Nicholas Craven and Akhenaton from I Am, Akhenaton is pretty much like the equivalent of Jay Z in French rap, like since the beginnings.
okay,
That's just to put you in perspective who that guy is that he made a record with.
that's really fire. I'm really
Crazy.
happy with the Quebec scene lately. Like all like the language shit aside, like it's just amazing to see people in my city and in my place like pop and get the love that like the culture and the city has just deserved for so fucking long. Because I really see that starting to happen. Like people are starting to, what's wild? People give a shit about France rap in New York City. Do you know
Oh,
how?
for sure.
Do you know how good that is for keb rap? I think that's what it's called. Rap keb rap, one of those two. I
Yeah.
don't fucking know, bro.
Yeah.
I'm so fucking out of this shit. I'm trying, bro. I'm trying to catch up on the French shit, but like, then there's so many English people, bro, and it's like this maze of
But again,
names.
like I
But
said,
that's
I was
amazing.
saying earlier, too, I'm very picky when it comes to French rap. So I'm like, yeah, I talk about like if I listen to a lot of French rap, but I don't. I'm very like picky. Like it's not everybody that I like, and yeah, even when it comes to like French rap from Europe or from France, I was growing up. I was very limited into what I liked and what I didn't. If you had a like heavy French accent that I couldn't understand, I wouldn't even bother. I was like, no, I can't. I can't listen. It's
Like
too
I
much.
can do the cadence and flow thing. Like I heard a lot of like Russian shit because I ended up working with some Ukrainians for the
S
last
Willie,
11
S Willie's
years.
a dude, man.
Yeah. I heard him though. Like he ended up working with this chick misunderstood recently, so I was like, I gotta go show her love because I think he's involved in the hit story thing. Like, or he was involved in a contest with them or something. And I know a few of these dudes' names now because they're on the bus. Like Connoisseur and somebody was like they were on the
There
bus.
you go. Kanazar is a OG.
And then I'm like seeing the fucking names pop up more. I saw Enema got like fucking crazy numbers the other day. Like, so it's
Yeah.
like, yo, like I love the fact that it's being shoved down my throat the way it is organically on wins and successes. Like it's, and then you're watching a bunch of dudes holding up plaques and awards, and it's yo, that's here. It's not other places. That's here. And it's fire to me. I really, really like it a lot. But how did you adapt to COVID?
Thank God for Twitch.
But like, was that
They're like
sinful for
they're
you?
yeah. Well. So like I was telling you before the interview, I was already doing live streams on
Mm.
Facebook and Ustream before the pandemic, before everything, like 2 3 years before that. Like even practice sessions as I was coming up as a DJ before I was getting my my club gigs and stuff. I would do live streams. That's what I would practice. For an audience that I didn't know, I didn't care, I didn't promote it. I would just go live on Ustream back then, and I would do that shit. So when the pandemic hit, I already had a webcam. I already knew how to connect my sound from a mixer to the computer to be able to have direct sound. So when the pandemic hit, it was a smooth transition. It's just eventually I I wanted to have a better stream. So then I got a better computer to be able to stream. Then I was able to get a better camera and all that shit. So yeah, I'm always been a person that knows how to adapt myself in different situations. So adapting to the live streaming was really not that super hard. Like I had to like get used to like being able to speak on the mic at the same time and all that shit. Like a little couple adjustments, but aside from that, it was a smooth transition.
Nah, I hear that. It was like I should have done it a lot sooner than I did it. But yo,
But
honestly,
I
it's
did I did it at the very beginning, and then I left it because I was like, oh fuck this shit. I was like unmotivated for a minute. But then when the second pandemic hit in October 1st, 2020, no 2020, the second big wave, and then when the second lockdown happened and everything, that's what I said.
yeah,
Okay,
that
I'm
was it for
fucking
me
doing
too.
shows steady, and I'm gonna be steady streaming. And then I made a schedule, and then I made it official.
I feel that. I that was when it was like, oh, say where ain't nobody coming to my crib for who knows how long we're quarantined. So we're going to do this live. Turned out nobody wanted to come to my crib, and my show popped off because nobody had to leave their fucking houses. And then people like right now be like die hard like, I want to come in person. I'm like, you really don't. You think you want to be here, but you
No,
really want to be home. And
not
you're,
the same.
bro, like half these interviews I'm in PJs, bro. That's I don't want
Well,
to
when I
wear
started
pants.
inviting people, when I started inviting people to like my streams, like to come to the crib while I'm streaming, I was like, no, I didn't like it, man. I didn't like the fact that somebody was behind and I was paying attention to these people here, and I was like, yo, no, I don't like this. So I stopped doing that.
That's it too. It's like like I don't have a whole production team. Shout out Bonnie, but like I don't have a whole production team up in the room. I don't have like the third guy that's always on the podcast you can't see that's switching cameras and googling shit for people. That's a whole other level of show production and whatnot. But like so like yeah, no, it's actually a lot easier for me to do a better job if there's not you in the room with me. But also like if you're here it puts more time constraints. Like this shit can run till 10:18 on a work night because frankly when we're done and everybody already home. And
Yeah.
like um I mean fair enough, Spectres. I'm not really sure why you said that, but we're just kind of like I'm just
Yo,
describing
he's
it.
he's name dropping fucking people I grew up with, man.
I'm
Big
like
shouts to Dave, Juan, Nick, and Pierrot, man. Pierrot Russ.
I'm not sure
So
who
this guy definitely knows me. If he's just name drop all these people, this guy is definitely from Elmer. Yo, who inspectors, man? Who are you?
a ghost.
The ghost from Elmer.
I mean, I saw the name Spectres, and I'm like, I don't know if it's like because it's a
I thought
real.
it was a fan from you, man. I was like, yo, I don't know inspectors, man. I have no idea.
Nah, dude, followed on the stream. I'm pretty sure. I don't know.
Shouts to you, Specters, though.
Shout out Spectres. A ghost. That's
Oh,
it. So I took it as somebody that knew you, that was mad anonymous, that
he
like didn't want to
apparently
be
definitely knows.
identified, and I rolled with it, cause, I mean, I figure you Spectres for real though. I appreciate you for real, but
He is for real. Yo, he's been dropping fucking mad
I
names and
just
mad
don't know
fucking.
about reading off a bunch of random names I never heard of. Because then I'm like, I know that Easy LD is watching the chat, right? So like I know I'm like, yo, if he want to talk about that, he'll respond to it. You know, like how sometimes it's kind of
He,
like
he
that, you know.
literally he literally dropped some names of people that I grew up with in high school. Like when I was
Dude,
telling
this
you like
shit is the most Nardwar shit ever. I love it, dude. You're so off guard.
crazy. Hell yeah, that's some Nardwar shit. I'd be like, yo, who the fuck are you? Like, you work for the feds? How do you know I know these people? Like, if you know that I know these people, is because you probably like he's probably close. I probably hung around with this guy, so he definitely like if you drop
There's
those
no
names, it's
problem,
because
Spectres. I love this shit. That's why I keep saying it with a smile on my
oh,
face
there's
because
no
it's
problem at all,
amazing.
homeboy. I'm just intrigued to know who you are.
I mean, it's just sometimes weird when people know who you are, and you know.
You don't.
Nah, you definitely made this fucking interview better, Spectres. There is zero doubt in my mind. I'm giving you
Give
flowers
these props.
multiple times for
Props.
that because it's truth, man. I feel it in my soul. Like, I loved it. Every second of your contributions, every time you caught this guy off guard, I enjoyed it a lot.